Joyful, poetic, and a little cosmic. She flow like incense in the early light, speaking in rhythms, painting the night. Eyes like moons, they pull the tide, whispering truths the stars can't hide. She hums with the wind, dancing so free. Fingers trace spells on the galaxy. Silver. Joyful, poetic, and a little cosmic. She flow like incense in the early light, speaking in rhythms, painting the night. Eyes like moons, they pull the tide, whispering truths the stars can't hide. She hums with the wind, dancing so free. Fingers trace spells on the galaxy. Silver threads in her locks unwind, magic dripping like vintage wine. She a goddess, she a queen. Move like thunder, talk like dreams. If you see her, take your time. You in the presence of something divine. She's mystic. She's mystic. Mystic.
Peace and positive vibrations. Welcome to the portal as you enter into the world of the sacred. It starts with a pour, slow, intentional, steam curling like whispers from the ancestors. We don't just sip tea, we build legacies. We're in alignment. This is a vibration you can feel, touch, taste, and smell. The ancients knew. They sip to awaken, to dream in technicolor, to open the third eye, to use the realms unseen, to tap in. Blue lotus, born from the Nile, kissed by the moonlight, woven into the mystic hands of time, infused with mango green and peach oolong, apple, hibiscus, ginger, a blend of the body, soul, and spirit. And now it's yours. Hand blended, small batch, crafted with intention. 'Cause when it's gone, baby, it's gone. Because real magic ain't mass produced. One drop at a time. How we flow. Survive, sacred tea, baby. So don't wait, tap in, sip deep, and let this moment be a ritual, a return, a renewal. SacredTea.net. Let's get it. Claim your cup. Sacred tea. Before the last drop is poured. Sacred tea. Sacred tea. I say, yo. What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Shy Bliss. I'm in the building. How y'all doing today? Put one in the chat if you can hear me. Place a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I want to make sure the sound is right. It's going well. Place a 1 in the chat. Place a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. All righteous. All righteous. What's up, boss lady? What's up, Loki? What's going on, LaQuetta Joe? Let me tell y'all something. It's finna go down in here tonight, though. Y'all ready for this? Listen. You know, I've always been in. What's up, Tammy? How you doing? I've always been into astrology. This is like a marriage that I've had, a spiritual connection to these stars. And when I started tapping into the power of learning about this science, it drastically changed my life. Things wasn't just happening by happenstance. It was just no coincidences. Things had purpose. Things had reason. And then when I started learning about transits and connecting everything and putting it all together, it all made sense. Life came together in a way that I couldn't have imagined. So tonight we're going to dive deep into the realms of how we use alchemy with astrology to fulfill our destiny, unlocking the cosmic codes that shape our lives, reveal our purpose, and guide us to our highest potential. Tonight, I'm joined by three divine goddesses, oracles, sibyls, healers, teachers, phenomenal creatrices in the building who have mastered the art of working with these celestial forces to create magic, wealth, healing, and transformation. Aquarius Maximus, this sister is a master of destiny cards and quantum manifestation. Ty Phoenix, musician, artist, visionary, astrologer, a cosmic warrior out here touring around coming off a world tour out here. The astrology doctor, expert in medical astrology and holistic healing. We're going to discuss astrology, numerology, destiny cards, divine timing, cosmic transits, alchemy, manifestation, maybe even tap into some personal rituals that we do. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I got to bring on my first sister. Let me tell you about Aquarius Maximus, though. This sister doesn't just play with cards. You know what I'm talking about? This sister out here be programming. She out here commanding. She got her own crypto coin out here. Y'all want to know about crypto space, blockchain? This is the sister right here. You want to get down. You want to know the information. She has taken the 52 deck of cards and made it her own craft. She could probably tell you right off the top of the head what your birthday is, what your card is, what you're going to be going through today, tomorrow, and the next day. We got some real live oracles in the building. So without further ado, let me bring to the stage my sister, Aquarius Maximus, in the house. What's going on, sister? How you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. Listen, when I first ran across you, this was many moons ago, back in the
Yeah.
days on Facebook groups. And you were one of the few sisters I heard talking about these destiny cards. See, we were back there fighting over sidereal and tropical astrology, right? This was the big debate that was going on, still going on. But you came in on a whole nother level, on a whole nother science with the 52 destiny cards. So if you may, tap in. First, tell everybody who you are because I'm super excited that you're here. So I'm really ready to just jump into it. But let everyone know who you are, what you do, and about your craft that you do with these 52 deck of cards.
Well, hey, everybody. Well, I do too much, I think, but I don't even know where to start. My life is a deck of cards.
No, that's
So
right.
that's what I see. I think it's more of I have a tremendous case of OCD. So I'm picking up things kind of all the time and categorize them, catalog them into karmas that are
Mm,
associated with cards. And because I have such the ability to kind of like categorize data, because being a four of clubs, that it just becomes like these little, data
you
things in my head.
compartmentalizing everything.
Yeah, just data stuff in my head. And that I'm able to pull and associate and stuff like that, because I truly kind of see the world as cards.
Mm.
It just helps. I mean, my godmother used to call me crazy because she said everything is not a card.
So, what
It's
attracted you to that? Like, how did you even embark upon using cards and seeing that in situations and people?
Well, everybody has these built-in, like I said, built-in karmas. So
Mm,
apparently my built-in karma, one of my built-in karmas is the playing cards themselves and dealing with it like that. Um, Only Richmond, Three of Diamonds was the one that popularized the destiny cards back in the early 1900s, etc. But
mm.
immediately
19,
immediately the person that followed him from the lodge was actually born on my birthday, November 16th.
Is
So
that Robert Camp? Who's that?
no. This was still earlier in the
Oh, okay.
days. I forget his name. He wrote a book called Symbology or something, but I totally forget his name. But he followed only Richmond. So we're talking about way earlier in the century. But I
Right.
was kind of stunned because I was looking into only Richmond, and then found out Milton is his name. And then I found out about Milton, and I found out that Milton was born on November 16th, which is my card.
Wow.
So, that's how you get to see that certain cards have certain energies with them. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So there may be another November 16th person that comes after me and is doing the cards, or, in the way that I do them, etc. So that's pretty much how it is, or three of diamonds. But three of diamonds tend to create whole new systems, because Ra whatever, from the
Raku.
no, from
Oh.
the human design system.
Oh, okay, okay.
He is a three of diamonds.
Mm.
So you'll find so many, they have an ace of spades in Mercury, and ace of spades will represent the mystery schools, So these
Okay.
people will have mystery schools that they will go on to share and could create a new, because the ace of spades often indicates a new something. So they will come and they will create a new something, with the three of diamonds. So another three of diamonds may come along and create a new system, and
Right.
etc. And it's like giving birth. The ace of spades is the card of it's a birth card as well.
Before we go any further, for those who don't know, what exactly is destiny cards?
Well, we call it cardology now.
Okay.
About maybe, I don't even know how long it's been, 7, 8 years ago or something like that. A group of us, former magi, former, destiny card people, we all got together and decided that we would adopt the name cardology, because first of all, cardology was already used to earlier describe the system. And we wanted to use something that, kind of brought in that it was a science, the ology, you're thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah, the
astrology
study
and
of.
stuff like that. And we
Mhm.
wanted to adopt something that didn't belong to anybody's IP or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
because people, they create something, well, they don't create it, but they create their own version or whatever. And then they have their IP, and then the knowledge can't pass, because you can't use the name, because this belongs to this person, this belongs to that person. But that's not Aquarian. We're moving into the Aquarian age. So it's not about the possession of the knowledge. It's about this knowledge
Sharing,
being accessible and the sharing, etc.
right.
So that's why we adopted the name Cardology, and began to use Cardology. Cardology is a nine of clubs, which is tomorrow's card. And the nine of clubs is a card about seeing things from a different perspective, right? So that's the secret of getting out of matrices, or that's the secret of getting out of a prison. That is the secret of finding freedom,
Hmm.
and is shifting your perspective. Because if you remember the tarot card, what is it? The nine of swords. Which one where she's blindfolded and there's the one
Yeah,
open?
no, right.
That's about changing your
So
perspective.
right. So cardology is the study of basically the deck of cards and
Well,
for the
yeah,
mysticism.
I say it utilizes the deck of cards as a calendar,
Mm,
but it's more so the study of how these cards impact or affect the lives of individuals, events, etc. You know what I mean? So as
right.
much the cards are used, yeah, the deck of cards is the centerpiece of it, because the deck of cards is 52 cards.
Yeah.
So imagine that everything is a number, right?
Mhm.
Even people or a number. You got a number. Everybody has a number. But that number could be in the trillions, right? So if you could remember everybody's number, everything's number, then you'd be great. You'd be a supercomputer. But all of this information has been, kind of like condensed into 52 cards. So this is a system that you can learn. You can learn easily. You don't really have to have any mathematical calculation because even the math is given to you. So everything is handed to you in these 52 cards. So this is portable. It's like a portable computer handed to
Hmm.
you that you can use to decode pretty much everything that's going around. And you can get things down to a date and a time, etc., right? Because this is like a clock. It's a calendar, but it's like a clock. So whereas you may use the tarot to get a general estimation of when something is going to happen. Cardology, you can get it down to the day and even
Does,
further down to the hour.
does the 52 cards relate to the 52 weeks?
Yes, they
Is
do. That's why it's a calendar, 52 weeks. You have the 13 lunar months, which represent the royals, the kings, the queens, and everything represented in 13 months. All of it is a calendar. So it's like a compact calendar or a compass for your life. And 52 is also the sacred number of God, quote unquote. At 5 plus 2 equals 7.
okay.
52 is a number that you'll find in the pyramids, the constructions of pyramids. You'll find it everywhere.
Hmm.
And in cardology, it represents the master architect, the king of spades.
Okay. Hmm. So when you see like I always think of the deck of cards, I think of the bicycle cards, right? With the ace of
Right.
spades on there.
Mhm.
And so what does that ace of spade represent when you see that? Because that's the first things, but we grew up on playing spades and bid whist and all of these cards, the oracles. I used to call them oracles when they sit at the table and they start flipping those cards and they get into the conversation and the smoke is going and the drinks are going. But those something about those cards that are activating them. And that ace of
Well,
spades was
mhm.
always like the king of all kings in that deck of cards. So
well,
does
that
that have
the
some
ace
symbol?
the, the ace of spades represents diving into the rabbit hole. This is
Mm,
the card of secrets. It's the card of secrets, death, and rebirth. Because when you dive down the rabbit hole, then you're gonna come out reborn. Like you're gonna come out knowing more things. And it's also like I said, it's also the card of death because transformation involves death. There's no transformation that doesn't involve death. So sometimes it can mean a literal death, but most of the time it means the death of an issue or spiritual death. So it's not
Scorpio.
you don't have to, yeah, it's very scorpionic. You don't have to look at the ace of spades always as someone dying. However, when you have it in your spread, usually someone is going to die. You just can't pinpoint, nobody's going to
Mm,
want to pinpoint who that person is. You know what I mean? Sometimes people will have it and feel like they're dying and they don't die, but an aspect of themselves dies that year or
mm.
that week or something. Something you experience
Something
a
has to
death.
end.
Yes, something ends. So it
Yeah,
could be your lack of knowledge about something. It could be something that you didn't know that finally gets unveiled, because
right.
again, it represents the secrets. It also represents the mystery schools, the occult, things like that, things that are hidden from you, etc.
How do you use these cards with astrology? Like, how
Well,
are they connected?
think of it like this. Every in the real life, everything has a planetary position, an astrological position.
Hmm.
Okay. So the
Yeah,
person sitting next to you, guess what planet that would be?
the planet that's close, like in the universe, would they be the
Closest. You
moon?
are the sun.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
so if someone comes and sits right next to you, starts up a
Yeah,
conversation, what position are they in? They're
Mercury.
in Mercury. Exactly. Right,
I got
exactly.
you. Okay.
right?
So it's like by the
And,
order of how close.
and exactly. And then if someone else comes and sit next to them, what position is that?
Is that Venus or Mars?
Venus,
Yeah,
right?
Venus. Oh,
Because
okay.
now you have a circle of three. You know what I mean? So you have a social experience going on, a more social experience like Venus. Someone sits on the other side of them, then that's going to be Mars. And you might have to yell or get a little bit more aggressive to be heard by the person that sits on that other side, right? And there is
Yeah.
going to be more aggression because that person is going to want to be included, right? But we
Wow.
already got a three thing going on, and this is going to be somewhat of an outsider. So they're going to be a little bit more aggressive to be involved in the conversation. So every thing, and then also bring it back. These are perspectives. That's why everybody's perspective is different. If I'm sitting here and then I move over there, my perspective shifts.
Yeah.
So what these cards are doing, and when they're aligned in this spread that we use called the grand solar spreads, is that it's showing you every perspective that you're working with for a particular time period. It's
Mm.
giving you the perspective of everybody,
Wow.
right? So
By the different cards.
yes, and it's
Yeah.
also giving you the planetary position, which planets are associated with signs, are associated with houses. So that's the astrology part of it. So we have a grand solar spread where there are 52 cards that are aligned, and then there are planets that go up the go up the Y axis and go across on the X axis.
Okay.
And these are the same planets.
Thank you,
These are the
geometry.
these are the seven planets, what we call the seven esoteric planets. So in
Mm.
esoteric astrology, whereas what do you call like theosophy and stuff like that, they deal with esoteric astrology, and the main planets that they deal with are the seven planets, so the seven number. So
Okay.
you got Mercury, you got Venus, you got Mars, you got Jupiter, you got Saturn, you got Uranus, you got Neptune.
Right.
And you are the sun all the time, each and every time.
Ah,
So this is
okay. You're the
from
center of this thing.
yeah, you're the center of the thing. Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So how does this differ with tarot?
Well, it's not tarot is not as specific. Tarot is more intuitive, you know what I mean? So it's like, and people can do cardology intuitive, but tarot is more intuitive. So you're getting like a visual, and then you're interpreting these visual cues. But with cardology, we're really dealing with the calendar. We want to know when. You know what I
Mm,
mean? When.
okay.
That's the
Right.
biggest question that everybody has is when, not
So they're
how,
like,
not what, but when. When you thinking about getting a new relationship, you want to know when.
mhm.
When you think about getting money, you want to know when. All of that. That's the first question is time, Saturn, when?
Ooh, so this is like transits in a way. Can you
Yes.
look at it like transits?
You
So
can actually do astrological transits on a cardology spread. So there was a time when I
that's
used to do horoscopes, and my horoscopes came from the cardology spread.
hmm.
So, that's how I
Like
did
the
my
card of the
horoscope.
day or something like that? Like, so today's
You
card
can,
would be
yeah, you can use the card of the week, the card of the day, the card of the month. I mean, however much information you could fit in your head, you can use it.
mm. Okay. I have a question for you. So with your card, everyone has their own personal card, right? According to the deck, your birthday, right? From your birthday, you determine which card you are. And then from a card you are, you have a spread that connects with all the
Yeah,
planets, right?
it's just like the natal chart because everybody knows their sun card, right?
Yeah,
So they're
yeah.
going, I'm a Scorpio. Well,
Right.
in cardology, everybody knows their sun card. I'm a four of clubs.
Mhm.
However, you have 13 cards that are influential to you, that are most influential to your path and your development. And over the years, you progress through each card. So that is each one of the seven cards. So You got one period, which is your Mercury period that rules birth and early childhood, and that's 13 years. They're all separated into 13 years. So me as a four of clubs, or you as a king of clubs, your Mercury card is the Jack of Diamonds. So as
Yeah.
a child, you were a Jack of Diamonds. For 13 years, you were a Jack of Diamonds. So think about it as being in a school of entrepreneurship, learning the basics of entrepreneurship, transactional agreements,
That explains
money,
a lot.
stuff like that, being different. The Jack of Diamonds is different. They don't have to mix in with nobody. They get to make their own selves. So like my
Wow.
my son is a king of clubs. And when he was up to 13, he dyed his hair green. He did this, he did that, like he did because you're
Yeah.
ruled by Uranus.
Uranus,
You're
right?
gonna,
Uranus,
yeah,
yeah.
so you're going to want
Be
to
different.
be different,
Right.
right? And then you
Right.
also realize the power of being different, how much power comes along,
Mm.
because there's real power in being different. So you get to learn those lessons.
So let me ask you this. So if I look at my spread and I look at all the different cards that represent the different planets, do I correlate that to looking at the planets that are laid out in my chart,
Yes, you
right?
can.
And so I would
You can,
be, so if I'm looking for my Mercury and whatever
right?
sign that's in,
So you're
I would
looking at
I would be
Virgo and Gemini, right? Your card. That's because they're both ruled by Mercury. So everything that's under Mercury is Gemini and Virgo. People
oh,
don't
so I won't be
realize
looking for the
cardology.
placement.
You would be looking for what's in what, you know what I mean?
Oh,
You
what
would
it
take
rules.
a
What
card.
oh, I
You would,
got you.
yes,
I
you would
got
take
you.
that card and you would
Uh-huh.
place that in that sign. You know what I mean? So for
Ah.
me, you take, of course, your sun is your sun card. So you will put it
Mhm.
there. Your Venus is going to be wherever your Venus is. You know what I mean? You're going to put it there. But when you're looking at it from the cardology perspective, you're
Mm.
breaking it down into what houses in Venus are associated with Venus, what signs are associated with Venus. So this card right here is going to apply to those people in those signs, everything in those placements. So why
Mm.
some people might be like, I don't like Scorpios, right?
Mm.
And the Scorpio card is going to be the Pluto and the Mars card, right? So
Mm.
if let's say the Mars card is a six of spades, for instance, right? The six of spades is the card of delayed everything, like slow. It's a slow progression into what is your keeping you in alignment with your destiny, right?
Okay.
So you might be magnetized towards Scorpios if you have a six of spades there. Like you might be like that's the people you might marry a Scorpio or whatever, and the cards will tell you as they are in the placement. So I will tell people, like, if you have a pretty challenging card in this particular placement, then that sign is you're going to have challenges with that sign. So if you had a nine of spades in Mercury, you're going to have challenges with Virgos and Geminis.
Okay.
So,
That's interesting.
and in cardology, because they fall under this planet, they basically, they're just different octaves of the same mental energy. Because
Yeah.
remember, Virgo is mental, and so is Gemini.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
One is
kind of look at Virgo as the higher, as the adult, more mature, and the and the Gemini, the child. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
how you
I got
look.
you. Yeah. And elemental too, the
Mhm.
different elements, so they're gonna operate on different
Yeah.
frequencies, right?
And
So
then the number, if you got a
mm,
2 in Mercury, right? So if you got a 2 in Mercury, this is going to be how you approach everything like a twin. You know what I mean? So like I have a
right,
2 of
right.
diamonds in Mercury. So I have conversations in my head like I was another person present when you're
Right,
dealing
yeah,
and we're talking about resources and money. You know what I mean?
'cause
There's
it's
two of them.
diamonds.
So
Yeah,
that also makes me a little bit more indecisive, even though it's Mercury and you're going to be indecisive anyway. It's going to make me more indecisive because I got two people I got to resolve before I embark on this endeavor. You know what I mean? I have to
yeah,
consult somebody else,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
Or if
Okay.
yeah, or if I have a
Appreciate
two of spades, this is going to be another part of me, or this is going to be like a conglomerate of spiritual beings I'm talking to in my head when I'm talking to you.
I'm glad you said that because I wanted to ask you, what are the difference between the suits?
So the suits represent the what do you call it? What do you call the seasons, right?
Okay.
But so you have some suits that are considered to be, of course, the spades are elders, right?
Mm,
And the clubs are teenagers, the hearts are babies. And then you have the diamonds, which really represent the crux of earth, because this is really like a diamond living here. We live for values. We live
okay.
for things, the material world, the
Resources.
material plane, resources, stuff
Okay.
like that. You know what I mean?
All right.
But
Would it be
then, but
broken down into elements? Would you be able to connect the
yeah,
suits to
it
elements?
could be, yeah, it could be broken down. It could be broken down. So many people have
To
broken down
anything, huh?
the pips down to so many different things. The clubs are kind of complex because some people think that the clubs deal with just the mental stuff, right? But the
Mhm.
clubs are very emotional.
Mm.
Extremely emotional. They're like to me more emotional than anybody else. You know what I
So
mean?
would they be
So
more
it
re
shows you how mental the emotions are. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Mm.
Yes, the clubs are
Yeah,
very,
honey.
very
Honey, listen, I got you because I'm a mental, emotional being over
yes,
here
yes,
for
yes.
sure. Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. But the hearts are more, they need physical presence, they need people. They need to be present, you know what I mean,
Mm.
with people. So,
They
things
need
don't
love? Is it so would it connect to
love,
that?
but they need, I would even say not so much love, I would say
Mhm.
connection. They need
Mm.
touch. They need,
Okay.
'cause that's their power. Their power is in touch and with people and stuff
Conne
like that. And
ah.
the clubs are not, they're not really touchy, they talky. They need
Right.
communication.
Communication, mental
Yeah,
change.
they need
Right.
communication. Like, don't just talk all over on, or don't just touch all on me and don't say nothing. Cause I'm like, what the hell
Exactly.
is going
Right.
on?
We need
You
some
know
mental
what I mean?
stimulation around here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what's going through your mind? Like what?
So what
That
about
type.
spades? Spades, what do they want?
Spades are cool. They chill. They gonna be like, I don't need. I provide. I don't
Okay
need.
now. Okay now.
That's the tip. They like the providers,
Mm.
and stuff like that. And I
I was
kind of look
reading
at
somewhere
them
that they're like
as,
workaholics, or they have
yes,
to put in
they
the
can
work.
work, but they also are like the law. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And kind of like the law, because you have,
Okay.
when you're trying to look at what the suit is about, you want to look at the king and the queen and the jack. You know what I mean? The
Right.
king and the queen, where do they rule at? What area are they ruling at? And the king of spades and the queen of spades, they're ruling the whole stuff. They're ruling the whole
Mm.
spread. The master architect, and this is the judge. The queen of spades is the judge.
Well, damn.
So the
So
judge and the
now,
execute, you know.
I wanted to ask you this question because when we had a conversation about a week, we were talking a little bit, and you were saying that Georgia is the queen of
Queen of
spades,
spades, yeah.
right? And you said something, and I said, well, after I got off the phone with you, I was like, what she mean by that? Because I said I used to live in Atlanta, right? And I lived there for like maybe 5 years, and then I just left last year. And then you said, oh, so you left. Right? And I'm like, "What you mean by that?" I didn't know it so when now that you sound like she's the judge. So I'm like, "Well, damn, was I under judgment while I was out there? Because it sure felt like it after a while. After a while, it was like
Well,
after the
you are
honeymoon was over.
Saturn. You sit in Saturn for the Queen of Spades. You know what I mean? You're Saturn,
Mm,
right? So, instinctively what is right and wrong. You know
I
what I
try
mean? even if you don't act on it, even if you got to run away from it, because remember, you're ruled by Uranus. So you got to break free of judgment sometimes, or you just
Mm.
won't be able to have a happy life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you're in Saturn. But what the Queen of Spades does is think of the Queen of Spades for other people as like an incubator so that you can get your inner life together. You know what I mean? So you could discover your power, so you can cook up your formula for life, craft a solid plan, get in alignment with your destiny. Because the Queen of Spades is connected to the Six of Spades, which is the card of destiny. Like this
Mm.
is supposed to happen, you
Right.
know?
Okay.
So if
That
you
makes
ever
sense.
want to get in alignment and try to figure out what am I really supposed to do, then the Queen of Spades is the way to get you there, to keep you on. You know, the Queen of Spades is like this. She looks at you, she knows who you are, she knows what you're supposed to do, right?
Mm.
And she's gonna basically beat your butt when you deviate from that path.
Mm. Right.
She's going to strip
Okay.
away all externals, make you fully responsible for anything so that you can't blame other people for getting off path, blame other people for doing the wrong thing.
Right.
You
She holds you
become,
accountable for your
she holds you
basic.
accountable, right?
Got you.
She holds you accountable. So she can make the best person that there could possibly be, right? Somebody who is
Mm.
going to have a long-term effect on the world, long-term wealth, build a solid foundation, build a legacy. Like that's what she does. So
Okay.
it's like you come to Georgia, like if you look at some of the older Georgians, right? These
Mhm.
are people who have bought land or stole it and sat on it forever. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And passed it on. And
Right.
they built wealth off of this that they've accumulated here. This is like the what do you call it? This is like the capital of Republican.
Right.
This is
Right.
what
Right.
made
Right.
them. The
Yeah.
wealth here is what
Yeah.
made them.
I remember
That's
you
what a
saying a
lot of
while
people don't
ago that there was gold in Georgia.
Yes, there is gold. There's absolutely gold. This was the site of the first gold rush. And the only
Mm.
reason that they left is because where they were going, it was easier. They found new gold that was easier to get to. This gold is in the mountains. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't
Yeah.
have the type of technology that
Right.
we'll likely have or that we have to be able to excavate it and mine it
Right.
and stuff like that. It was hard. So, but there was gold here. That was the reason for the Trail of Tears. That was the reason for moving the natives out of here because they
Mm.
were sitting on gold.
Well, there you have it. So let me ask you this. Let's get a little, political a little bit. So we all see what happened with the election, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm sure you know the cards of certain people in the
I do.
administration.
I
So
do.
what are their cards saying about their personality and the type of 4 years we might be dealing with the type of, so what is Trump? What Trump is a Gemini, I know that,
He's
but
the
what
three of
card is he?
diamonds.
Oh shit. You just talking about that.
He's Diddy. You know what I
What?
mean?
Hold
Both
on.
three of diamonds.
Wait a minute.
So yeah, he's
What?
Diddy. They're both the same person. Really, really. He's just older. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So,
That's why he had all them rappers at his inauguration.
yeah, he's Diddy, but he's a mob boss. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So they
okay.
operate the same. Mostly Diddy operates like a mobster. He operates like a mobster. You know, so
Okay.
how a mobster operates is they are letting everybody else hold accountability for the things that they want to happen or do, but they don't do them. They don't put their
They
hands
don't
in.
get their hands dirty.
They don't get their
Mm.
hands dirty. They will let others get their hands dirty, and later on, they'll be the fall guys, and they'll walk away. You know what I
So
mean? So
could
what they do is they can ruin people.
oh,
You know what I
but they
mean?
setting shit up. So he's, oh, well, let's go on in there. Since we don't put our toe in
Because
here.
They have a Jack of Hearts, which is the Jesus card. That's the cult in Saturn. So they can grow cults. They have a cult appeal. There you have MAGA. You have all the people who's around Diddy. They have a cult appeal, right?
Wow.
And
That's
really what that
interesting.
is like you fall into a lifestyle that you can't fall out of, you know? So it's like the Pied Piper. I'm gonna really see what you made of.
So check
And
it. If he's connected to Musk and you're saying they need a fall guy, what is Musk card? And
the
does it
fall
fall
guy. He's the fall guy. I just talked about that yesterday. I posted. I was like, he's
Oh
the fall
shit.
guy.
See, he knows.
You
See,
don't even know it.
oh, what's his card?
2 of clubs. So he's the
So
card that pushes you forward. And this is the thing. Think of the 2 of clubs that before they become like they're it's the card for the word king, by the way, right? But it's like they're on the path, they can be on the path to becoming intellectual, very smart and stuff like that. But really and truthfully, it is not intelligence that leads, it is character and wisdom that
yeah,
leads.
okay.
So they oftentimes will skip that. That's what we're seeing right now, you know. And I think that truly the 2 of clubs is very occult. The karma card is the ace of spades. I think that truly he had been dibbling super hard into the occult. And just like he said, I posted the video before and people just don't want to believe it. But I posted the old Elon. He looked totally different.
Totally different. He
He was
does.
at
You're right.
peace,
Yeah, I
at
saw that.
peace. And he was like, don't let AI take over because
Right.
and he said you got to have some guardrails and then all of that. And then all of a sudden now it's like let everything, and
Mhm.
people blame it on the drugs. But I would say the drugs are just a part of it, opening him up to more and more occult practices. But I'm 100% sure that he's been dibbling and dabbling in occult. And what he's dealing with is quote unquote darker forces
Some
that have
entities
come
on
in
the edge.
that are puppeteering his body right now and talking through his mouth.
What? Hold on. Say what now? It's like that. What
Yeah.
we go? So hold up now. These people is running shit. Like, well, they've always been. I
Yeah.
think the majority of them have been dibbling and dabbling in these sciences, occult
Yeah,
sciences.
but he's such an experimental person as a 2 of clubs, wanting to learn
Mm,
more. There's a difference. Like, you got some people that'll dibble and dabble and really just dibble and dabble, right? Then
yeah.
you got other people that are literally calling up the big dogs.
Just
You know what
immerse
I mean?
themselves in the shit.
Exactly, because he has that kind of money, so he got that kind of
Mm,
money that he's being introduced to more and more and more levels, you
right.
know what I mean, in this. Whereas Trump is the type of person to have a advisor who
Mm,
is who deals with that. You know what I mean?
right. 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 Because
But yeah, he's an
yeah, because
advisor.
he's working like a mob boss. We got the
Right,
concierge.
right, right.
Yeah.
So he got his person. They all
Mm-hmm.
the demon vessel. You know what I mean? Be
He in the back with his
the
rosary beads
you'll
and
be the
praying
demon
and confession and shit.
right,
Yeah, I hear
right.
you.
So
Wow.
these are the type of people that sacrifice anybody, children up or whatever, and let the
Mm,
devil inhabit them. But
that's crazy.
what's the name is one of them type of people that'll be at any party, right? And say, hey, let's have a seance. I'm with it.
Oh
You know what
shit.
I mean? Let's
And
call up so
conjure
and
up
so. I'm with it. He high, or
wow.
maybe he drinking. He like, sure, I'm with it. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Because I heard
Anything
some of the
goes.
people he used to party with. Like he used to party with a lot of people in our community. You know what I mean? Like he used
They
to, and I
all
know they
did.
and dabble. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
that's
how he
why they hanging with them.
right, right.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about party, it's a difference. With Trump, it's we're going to a party. With Elon is we're having a house party. We having a
We doing
kickback.
the freak offs.
It's only 6 to 12 of us in there. You know what I
It's a
mean?
private party.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
Got
you're
you.
calling on the big dogs while you in a little private party,
Damn.
and you're not really researching that, but you're power hungry. They're gonna go after the most power hungry individuals. You know what I mean? Those people,
Mm.
and he's very wounded. He has childhood wounds from his father,
Daddy issues, yeah.
dad
You could
issues,
tell that. Right.
all that stuff like that. And typically, what would happen is if he wasn't rich, he'd be a serial killer. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
shit.
But he rich,
This is
so
getting worse by the moment. Damn. Look,
yeah,
okay, we gonna change this
yeah.
because we might be in trouble. Do you think we in trouble with these fools up in there?
I think that there's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
There's going to be serious trouble. There's a number of scenarios that are going to happen because of the recklessness that's happening. So this is like the delete button. I'm pushing the delete button. That's what he's doing. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So you're
So does
obviously
America
going
have a
to have,
card?
hmm?
Does the United States have their own card?
Yes, it's a jack of diamonds.
And what is it holding this year? Do you know?
Well, this is the thing. The Jack of Diamonds this year is displacing its own Uranus card, which is the Six of Spades, right?
Is that a karmic card too?
Yeah, it's a karmic card. It's the card of
Mhm.
fate. It's
Okay.
like unavoidable shit. You know what I mean? And it's their Uranus card. So this is something
Mm.
about elevating the people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Forcing the people to create a whole new set of laws, rules, etc. to live by. Because the King of Clubs pushes the Jack of Diamonds. Remember, I said the Jack of Diamonds is Mercury,
Uh,
right?
okay. Yeah, yeah.
So the King of Clubs is also the card for Earth, by the way. Earth itself is a King of Clubs.
Oh, really?
So, so that is why it's so important that we be the caretakers of Earth.
Of
It's
Earth,
so
right.
important that Americans talk about climate change and all of these things that are going on because we are the ordained caretakers of the Earth. You know what I
Right.
mean? You even
Yeah.
had different native tribes here. You had the Hopis, you had this, you had that were talking about what? The Earth. What are we doing to the Earth? And that is that is supposed to be a priority to us, is taking care of the Earth.
Mm.
Um, and a number
Well,
of
you would think.
Well, yeah, you would think, but if you don't do it, you're gonna be forced to do it. That's the King of
Right.
Clubs, and that's the Six of Spades. Whatever you
Mm.
don't do, you're gonna be forced. And the Six of Spades is also about cleaning up the past, the mistakes you made in the past.
Okay.
So things
Okay.
are supposed to. Why I said, and I didn't stay with this because I was so mad and angry about this, but when you have a six of spades, you
Mhm.
cannot go forward with your plans without fixing how everything that you caused. You know what I mean?
Right,
So what I
right.
believe is that them and these Republicans, they're setting themselves up for the flip of power, meaning the loss of power. They will lose their power because of what is happening. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying? Because
Mhm,
they will
mhm.
have to spend so much money, so much stuff fixing everything
And
that
they're
they've
gonna go
done
broke.
up to this point.
Yeah.
Right. If it wasn't righteous for the people, they're going to have to pay for this. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Okay.
So you have to remember that. It's hard sometimes to see somebody abusing you or abusing or doing wrong, and then it looks like they just get rewarded and they're rewarded and
Right, they
nothing.
never get away with right, they get away with we
Exactly,
was having this I was having a conversation just like this the other day with someone in regards to how is karma being dealt, and why does it seem like this one side that's been in control for the past, let's say, 200 years seems to be getting away with murder, literally.
Well, see, this is the thing because karma operates through people, even the person.
Mhm.
And the more you do, the sicker you become. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Which is the six of spades, which is the card of sickness. So most people don't know how sick Trump is. They don't know how sick Elon is. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But their
Mhm.
actions are showing that they're very sick, and
Psychopath,
they're
yeah.
they're dealing with internal issues that'll likely kill them. You know, one way or the other, whether it's going to be external or internal, one way or the other, they're creating this situation for themselves in which the karma of their life is going to be enacted right in front of the people.
Wow.
And why does that type of thing happen? Because that changes the people. When the people see
I got you.
and they have a lack of faith that anything is going to come, you know, whatever, and then they see and they actually recognize what sickness looks like and what wrong looks like and all this other stuff, then it's going to change people. People are going to be more accountable, more going on the path towards building their character, more on the path. It's a whole lack of character. That's, you know what I mean? Like Donald Trump has the worst character. That's where
It's a direct reflection. So when I used to say this, the president, when you look at the presidents that they've been choosing over the past 3 years or whatever, they're a direct reflection of what this country is looking like. Like this is the mental health of the United States. You can see this apparent.
And really patriarchy.
Absolutely. Well, for sure. Absolutely.
This is what patriarchy looks like.
Damn.
This is how
the epitome of it.
It is the epitome of sickness. Some people think there's different levels of war going on. There's war on, yes, there's wars on people of color, but the biggest war is the war on women.
Women, Asheo, that's right.
That is the biggest war.
That's it. Listen, we're gonna have to take a pause, honey, because I can talk to you forever. We got 2 other people we got to bring on here, and I'm sure they want to chime in on this conversation. Listen, the next person I want to bring on, we had her on a couple weeks ago, Sister Ty Phoenix. We all know that this sister be out there busting those lyrics, dropping this knowledge and this wisdom. Extremely talented, articulate sister, intelligent, beautiful. Welcome to the stage, everybody. The one and only Ty Phoenix. Uh-oh, it looked like she's frozen. What's up, Ty? Welcome to the show, boo. She done got up and left. Where you going? This is what you call live and direct. All right. Well, until she gets back, let me put her back. Well, I'm sure she'll come back soon. She probably went to the bathroom. What timing is it? What's your card? What's up, Ty? I don't know if she realized she's on the Ty Phoenix. You live, Ty? Welcome, Ty Phoenix. How you doing, sister? Can you hear me? I don't think let me see. Can I send her a message? There must be a delay.
I think so.
All right, we remove her back. Let me put something in the chat. Ty Phoenix, can you hear us? You alive, Ty? You live and direct. Your mic is on mute. Your mic is on mute.
I think she got a delay.
Oh, we're gonna have to have her come back on. I just wanted to take her mic off. Your mic is on mute.
It's delayed.
There you go.
Let me turn this down. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but I think you're delayed. So what I'm gonna need you to do is to just go out the studio and come back in.
You got it. I'll be right back. Okay.
All right.
You know, one of your people in there said what about Joe Biden and Kamala?
Okay.
When you're in a game and you get to the last level, do you think back to the people who were on the early levels, or do you try to beat the boss on the level that you're on? The final level. We are on the final level.
Right. What you worried about them for?
Exactly. We're on the final level.
It's game over. It's game over for them.
It's really game over.
Wow. What did you think about the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl?
Kendrick Lamar, king of clubs. You know what I mean? Every door opens for him to speak a message. You know, when you're a king of clubs or you have a king of clubs, you are welcome anywhere to speak and share your message that is important to the people. So this message was important to the people, regardless of what you thought about it. It was deemed.
Wow. Well, what's up, Sister Ty Phoenix? Straight out of LA, dropping beats, crown lows, rich auntie vibes in the house. What's good with you? How you doing, sis?
I'm feeling great. Great to be a part of this discussion. I was backstage listening like,
Oh, it's
ooh.
a vibe, definitely. I knew these three. Wait till you bring on the astrology doctor. I mean, we just gonna go totally left with that one. But I knew,
Hey,
like, when
can I
this
ask y'all real
round
quick?
table, this,
Real quick, can I ask y'all before we get into it? Like, so Aquarius, Shaw, like even the chat, what do y'all think? Keep the black frames on? Or hold on. Hold on.
I like the black frame,
I like
A
the
bit of
black. The
Mars.
black is
Okay.
popping. The black is
Black is popping.
but I
Okay.
like
yeah.
black anything. So
Black
I'm
is
probably
good.
the wrong
Yo,
person
Ty
to
on
ask.
this. What's your card? Like, come on now. After we
You
gonna get
ready? You
into
ready?
all
Drum
of this.
roll. Drum roll.
Brrr, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
Two of
go.
diamonds.
Let's
Two of
go,
Hey,
Ty.
diamonds in the
He in the
building.
building.
my Mercury card.
What's that? What I missed
My
it.
Mercury card.
And what's that?
She my sister from another mother. we
Oh, so
yeah.
okay.
We
So
even
she's
got
a
some
It's
Pisces
just the
season.
invitation.
Gemini twin aspect.
Okay, well, let's go. What you
We
got,
got some
Ty? How you feeling
astrological
today?
placements in common too. So
Mhm.
That's what's
Yep.
up. I think we have a delay again, but we're gonna keep it going.
you
So
know what?
Ty,
I'm gonna take this mic out. I'm trying to be fancy. Hold on. Is that better?
can you hear
Yeah, it's
me?
not good. It's good.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can
see a
hear
delay.
you. I just
Yeah, I don't see a delay anymore. That's good.
okay,
Oh, it's
cool,
good.
cool,
Okay,
cool.
cool.
So somewhat Ty talk. We talking astrology. We talking destiny cards.
Yep.
So I wanted you, for those who don't know who you are, introduce yourself, your background, and when did you get started tapping into the science of astrology?
Okay, so for those people in the chat who may be familiar with me in the music world, because I did share the link on my page, so I have people following me for different reasons. Um, the worlds are merging. That's my goal, to have all the different subdivisions, coming together.
Right.
Um, yeah. So for those who know me through music, and for whatever reason you may not have been aware of my life and journey as an astrologer, now you know. This has been going on for quite some time, and for those of you who you became acquainted with me as far as my knowledge of astrology, and being a practitioner of astrology, and you didn't know about the musical arts, now so that's my chart. It's both of them are in my chart. So
Awesome. So when did you get started in astrology, and what attracted you to this science?
what really drew me in, besides obviously it being in my chart to do this, I came, like most people, I came into the understanding of life, the universe, and everything in between via religion, via organized religion, whether you grew up
Yeah.
in a church, Episcopalian, Catholic, Baptist, whatever. I grew up in a Black Catholic, actually called a Black Roman Catholic church. That was the description of the
Yeah.
church that I belonged to,
So
where I
yeah.
was baptized and everything. So, and I went to Catholic school my whole life. I never went to a public school. I don't know what it's like to wear like civilian clothes to school. From kindergarten to 12th grade, I wore
The
uniform.
plaid.
Yeah. So I was in a Catholic school from kindergarten through 8th grade, and then 9th grade to 12th grade, I went to an Episcopalian school, which is like Catholicism because it's all just the same, just same
Yeah.
fingers,
I
different
grew
fingers on
up
the same hand.
Episcopalian. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's like a more moderate version of Catholicism. They're not as rigid with the rules. But
Okay.
Catholicism branched out, in that conference. That's where Lutheran began, Episcopalian began. They all like had an argument at a conference, and it just went off into different divisions. If y'all know the history of how this Christianity became, how it developed, and we have different sects of Christianity. So anyway, but I say all that to say that I started out through religion trying to understand what's going on in the world, what's going on around me. What's that? What's this? Why is this? What how come people don't do that? How come some people live to be there? How some people die? Or I started out through religion. And I realized that religion wasn't answering all the questions. So I would
more questions, huh?
Yeah, I needed clarity. I have a curious mind. Inquiring minds want to know.
Right on.
So religion often instructs people to stay away from being inquisitive. There's the scriptures, how in religion they say in the Bible, don't look up, don't look at the sky. Matter of fact, there was a movie on Netflix called Don't Look Up. Remember?
Yeah.
Movie Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of based on the whole premise in religion, which God says, don't question, don't look up, those sorts of things. Don't inquire, just accept. They say God doesn't like.
Yeah, right. Be a robot, goddamn.
But they tell you that that's being devout, that's being cooperative, that's being faithful,
obedient. Yes,
obedient. And
all the things that I'm not.
Well, when we consider ourselves being true to our religious beliefs, if we're practicing them, we like to think that we're being obedient. If God said, don't question that, don't look over there, don't try to get the answers to that, don't be an analyst, don't be a mathematician, that's not your job, just be a faithful servant.
Right.
I started to believe that you could actually appreciate, love, and venerate the Creator and still ask questions. Like it doesn't make me less respectful of the Most High if I ask a question. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So being inquisitive and wanting a better understanding of how life was unfolding, how everything works. And we still here talking tonight because we don't have all the answers to how everything works, right? We know what we've learned, and we know what we're still open to learning. But I realized that there were questions that it was okay for me to ask. And the more questions that I asked about the universe and how this happens and why this happens and why this doesn't happen, and exploring and then going down an esoteric rabbit hole, and then you find out the reason why you are interested in going down that path is because it's written in your blueprint for you to do so. Right. Because everybody is not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of your blueprint, do you believe that your natal chart, you're bound by it? Like this is it for you. This is your contract, that all the things that you're going to fulfill and your challenges and everything is in there, and you have no choice in the matter.
I feel like your natal chart, I described it as a blueprint, or as you described it actually as a blueprint. You have choices within a certain set of parameters. Okay. It's almost like, metaphorically speaking, if a child is playing within a sandbox at the park, and I say you can play within the sandbox, don't run over there, don't run across the street, you can do whatever you want in this sandbox.
Long as you in this box, right?
Long as you remain within this sandbox. But you're free to draw in the sand. You're free to even maybe play with other children. Yes, they come in the sandbox. But this idea of I'm in a universe that is haphazard with no real structure to it, and I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and try this and try that, and there's no real guidelines or bylaws or laws, whether they be mutable or immutable. There's nothing. We just all winging it. That you would be a fool to believe that. Even
Right.
if you go outside, like I have deer where I live, deer, and I know y'all lived in Georgia, so y'all see all types of deer, rabbits, all types. They don't have alarm clocks. Animals know when to get up, right? Because the sun is their alarm clock. They are automatically in submission to nature and to the
Okay.
laws of nature and the move. So if they're following some set of rules and they don't read books, they don't write, but they're following some sort of guidelines, some sort of system.
Uh-huh.
So if they
Okay.
understand that, I shouldn't be arguing with human beings about order and systems. Animals know. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now,
But do they operate on a do you think they operate on a different consciousness though?
they
Like, do
have
they
an
have free
automatic
will?
submission. They have an automatic
Mm,
submission because they don't have the same level of intellect as humans.
right.
They don't have the same level of access to choice,
Hmm,
right? They just follow animals follow a certain set of law, right? They just reproduce.
okay.
You got the choice. Like, I don't know if I want to like, you know what I mean? Animals like,
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
reproduce and continue my species. You decide whether or not you want to do it for pleasure, whether or not you want to, add more members to your family. Like, you have all these layers.
Right,
Animals don't
right,
think
right.
about it like they have a submission
Okay.
to. So
Mhm.
when I say all that to say, to bring back to your question, you have the ability to make choices within certain parameters. There is no choice. Like I think we talked about it before. We had a discussion. There's no choice I can make to be an NBA basketball player. It's not gonna happen.
Right. You
You like
won't
you
even have that desire though. You know what I'm
you can do
saying?
what you
Like
want. You can be whatever you want. You can manifest whatever you want. No, within the confines of what has been assigned to you.
right. Now check this out. When you were saying about NBA players, wouldn't it be more like so I think you're coded with this energy, these celestial energies that's above us or around us, however you want to place it. And you would already have a desire to do certain things. You'll be more apt to you'll be attracted to certain things. And if it's not coded in you, you may not even be attracted to that, right? Like some
Mhm.
people hate sports, right? They don't even want to, they won't even have a desire for that. But the things
Right.
that they have a desire for, it's already coded in them by through their alignment, so to speak.
Mhm.
So, I guess when I was saying you have a choice in the matter, and I like what you say, like through the perimeters or I say like the jurisdiction and what these planets operate in, these are the things that you can do. You will probably have a desire to do that anyway, right? As
Mhm.
opposed to trying to do something that's not even in your character, that's not even like aligned with your blueprint, so to speak.
Well,
Um,
I saw someone post the other day um a video. Well, they were having a discussion, and what the content creator said was, you have a desire for that particular thing because it's already there for you
mm,
to experience. It's already written
okay.
that you should be experiencing that you should be um mastering that thing. Like, you want what already is there. Like, you want what so-called wants you. But I think that you have to, in life, like, you have to evolve personally. You have to personally evolve, spiritually evolve, to understand that it is best to want what wants you, because a lot of times our wants are created out of the ego
Hmm,
and not out of the soul, not out of the soul contract, right? You want
okay.
sometimes, and that takes a certain degree of spiritual maturity on your journey to know, is this what I desire, what I'm striving for, what I intend to manifest or whatever? Is this extending from my egoic self, or is this a real soul instruction? Like,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
that takes a certain level of growth, right? Right? You agree, Aquarius? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna add that, really in the progression of cardology, you're like an onion, and every so couple of decades, layers of that onion get peeled away, right? And so you start out with the requirements and what you're required and you're trained to do, but then you evolve into getting to know your true self and knowing what feels right. Because within cardology, you could have a card and we could have the same card and be born on the same day, right? But this person goes out and does this person goes out and does that, because your karma is not, you got a package. Think of it as a karmic package you could choose from. So this is your free will. You could choose from this karmic package as long as it fits within that card, right?
Mhm.
You can choose
Mhm.
multiple paths. So,
Yeah.
for instance, I share birthday with Lisa Bonet. She's an actress, so she chose to go, in which, by the way, I have a South Node Gemini, and I used to act when I was a child. So
Okay.
when you're in that karma, you're going to experience all the same experiences, but one of them is going to be ultimately the path that you choose, and it could be different from somebody else. But I do still see how her and I are kind of like walking a similar path, because she's very boho and
Mm.
minimalistic
Mhm.
and not super materialistic. And also she's reclusive. So that's me now. Like, I'm catching up. Like, that's how I want to be. Like, I feel more natural like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like,
Okay.
I fell into a spell or a period where I thought I was something else, but now that I'm 50 and going more towards my transformation card, I realize that's exactly how I am. I don't want anything. I don't want no more material possessions. If I could walk around in a sheet, I would. I wear black all the time, and I want to
Mm.
fade into obscurity. I don't want any. I want to fade just like she faded. That's what I desire to do.
Okay.
Like a real
So I see what you're
Scorpio.
saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
like
Like a
like
real
a real,
Scorpio.
like, look, this
Right.
shirt, right? Satoshi is black. That's what it says, right? And that's the so-called
Oh,
founder of Bitcoin, right?
Bitcoin. Yeah.
But it means so much to me because Satoshi, no one knows who that is, right?
Mhm.
I'm the founder of a crypto. I did it backwards. Everybody know who I am. But now I don't want nobody to know who I am, just like Satoshi. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Mm.
So it's all
Power
ordained.
and
Like,
being
that's
anonymous.
why you got to get older, because your perspective is going to change. Everything's going to shift. I'm nothing like I was before. So
Saturn
if I was,
return.
yeah, so if I was with a person who was expecting me to be that way, and then all of a sudden now I'm like this and they can't deal with it, it's a wrap.
Right.
I
Right.
well, I think the issue that people have, um, Sean Aquarius, is that when people think of not having access to the freedom that they would like, it bothers people when they say, when you say ordained, when you use the word ordained, because you just use the word ordained, which is definitely spoken. That word is often used in religious context, but
Yeah.
ordained, destined, those sorts of things. People sometimes are uncomfortable with what those words imply, the
Yeah.
meaning, what the meanings imply, because it's like, what are you saying? I came out my mother's womb and I'm doing this journey, this thing here. I gotta do this, but I gotta follow a script. That's not like, I gotta
Yeah.
people are
It's
very bothered by that, and
yeah.
as you know, in religion, there's a long-standing debate about what free will versus determinism.
But it's
Mm.
a script, but it's with options. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a script, but it's flexible. It's like
Um,
it's a script with options.
but
You
flexible
could
is
do it
relative.
this way, you could do it this way, or you could do it this way. but
within the
whatever it is,
confines of what it
it's
is.
still within the confine. But that's the same thing as all humanity on Earth. We can't
Yeah.
just jump off the planet and go somewhere. I mean, some people can do it in or whatever, but we're not all just jumping on a ship and just deciding we going here. We got some constraints, obviously, on us in the material world. So you got restraints, but still, while you on the ground, you have choices to those restraints. You can move to New York, you can move to Georgia, you can move here, you can move there, but at the end of the day, you can't move to the
where
moon.
you're supposed to. You're only going to
Yes,
end up
exactly,
where you're supposed to be.
exactly.
You're not. It's not as random as people would like.
It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. But it's giving you the illusion of freedom, right? Because no one wants to be trapped, regardless of how good it is. You could throw somebody in Disney World. If they're trapped in Disney World, after a while, they're going to feel like they're in prison, no matter what, even if it's Disney
What's
World.
going on? Right.
So you gotta put them in Disney World and convince them. You know what I mean?
Well,
that it's a fun place.
The
idea of humanity or the human experience being likened to a prison. A lot of people, I mean, you guys were talking about Elon. You know, one of his big goals is to go to Mars, which is a joke because you're not going to leave. We know you're not. You don't leave. You don't leave this dimension. You don't
go nowhere.
No, you're not going nowhere.
So
but
let
the
me ask
idea.
you,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to ask you. So, with all of that being said, how do you utilize this tool to work for you? What do you do now that you've come up with your assessment of what this is for you, right? How are you going to work it now? How do you utilize astrology to manifest your destiny?
Okay. In my opinion, right, the definition of winning, when people be like, oh, such and such is winning, this person is winning. The definition of winning is when you willingly aligned with what is for you, meaning you want what wants you, what was written for you, you actually accept it, you cooperate with it, and you submit. In religion, in religion, to use religion, because really you can even take these esoteric sciences and align them with religion, because the religions use the sciences to even, that's how they came about. They just watered them down. So submission, right? Let's take Islam, submission to the will of Allah, right? All that means is that I am obedient and understanding and accepting of the will. Let thy will be done. These are things that they say in religion. So let's just take that same premise now and pull it over here. So if my chart says my moon is in this house in aspect to Pluto in that house, or the Saturn is here, and the Venus and the Mercury are conjunct here, and the sun is conjunct the Venus, what the Mercury, whatever. I'm not going to fight that. I'm going to willingly walk in alignment with that arrangement. That is the definition of winning. When you are not trying to fight, I'll give you a real simple example, since we're all original women and we probably were raised by original women at some point, or we were around, whether grandmothers, mothers, aunts. Okay. When they call your name once, twice, come to Ty, second, Ty. What happens when the mom or the grandma?
It ain't your name, but she calling you.
every what happens after the second or third time?
Yeah.
When you don't answer. This is every Black mother. What she say? Didn't you hear me calling you? Right? Every Black
all the
mother,
other adjectives that fall after that.
Didn't you hear me calling your name? Okay. And then she's frustrated at that point. You heard me, because every Black mother, grandmother. Okay.
Right.
Let's take it and use that same example, but we just say the universe. Didn't you hear me telling you, as much as you want to move around and I got things to do, I got a to-do list and a checklist, I told you to sit down. Saturn said sit down, mature, learn these lessons, but I want to move around. Or say you're sitting down and your chart says right now, whether it's the solar return chart, whether it's the natal chart you were born with, whether it's the P2 chart, the chart says you get up and move and you're active, but you're sitting down. You want to be no, don't go against it. That's the definition of winning. Saturn told me I need to get those lessons right. I know I want to go out and make money and I got all this agenda of what I want to accomplish and achieve. But Saturn said I need to sit down and rethink the way I've been approaching relationships, the way I've been approaching maturity. I'm going to cooperate because Saturn is going to be in this house for 3 months. Saturn's going to be in this house. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to try to remix it. I'm not going to try to go against it. That's the definition of winning on any level. When you don't say it's supposed to be, my Venus is supposed to be doing this. My birth card, my daily card, my 52-day card is supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be famous. I'm supposed to be rich. I'm supposed to have. No, you got to follow the cycle, follow the instruction. That's the definition of winning.
There you go. That's what's up.
You know, I want to add something to that. When she mentioned the word "don't fight it," the people can get confused because they'll take that as they're not supposed to fight, right? But you're not supposed to fight your destiny, but it may be in your destiny to fight. You know what I mean? So
you have Mars, let's say you have Mars conjunction.
No, I just had to clarify because some people will think, well, maybe I'm not supposed to fight at all, right? Me, it's all embedded in my destiny that I have to fight. You know, when they say all my life I have to fight,
all my life
it's embedded in my destiny that I'm going to have to fight, right?
Okay.
Because what I'm bringing forth is not going to happen if I don't. You know what I mean? So it's embedded. So what happens to me? I'm born. I'm in school, I'm young, I'm getting bullied, I'm getting beat up. I didn't really get physically beat up, but I got bullied. People threaten me. You know what I mean? All sort of period. I'm threatened. So I could stay scared and not do what I need to do. Like, you know what I mean? Not to overcome these obstacles, right? And the funny thing is, yes, it's in my natal chart. It's in my cardology. It's even in my E5. I'm an initiated priestess. And they give me the name of a fighter. And I'm like, I'm not no fighter. I don't like to fight. You know what I mean? But guess what? I'm coming up against the toughest individuals that will cut my heart out, eat it on a plate. You know what I mean? And that's because I am going to be in a spot. I'm going to be swimming in the ocean with sharks. You know what I mean? Like what my destiny involves. My destiny involves swimming with sharks that'll eat me. Point blank.
I mean, okay.
The hell?
You know what I mean? So it's like my destiny involves that. But my destiny also involves being able to turn an enemy into an ally. Right?
Okay. So it's like training, you know what I'm saying? You got to go in there with those
So my training is killer. People don't know what I go to. I'm telling you, people who are very close to me, they're like every day, they're like, I don't know how you do it. That's what they tell me every day. And then I'd be like, I don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Like,
here's the thing. Let me address that, right? Because you make a good point. It's in my chart, it's in my destiny to fight, right? So let's say a person has the North Node in Aries, which means the South Node in Libra. They were always negotiating, they were always compromising. And now in this life, what? They have to self-advocate. They have to maybe just defend themselves. Now, every fight isn't bloody.
No.
Every fight isn't physical. There's spiritual war, there's mental warfare. Doesn't mean you got to throw punches.
And that's the lesson. That's the evolution. You gotta innovate.
Hello, finish the point, Ty.
So I say that to say, because when I said that you have to submit and you have to be in alignment, willing alignment, cooperation with your destiny, I'm not saying that you wouldn't self-advocate, or I just want to make that clear to people in the chat I'm not saying you wouldn't self-advocate. I'm not saying you wouldn't stand up for yourself, make decisions for yourself, be proactive, and be a participant in your own life. No, you're not going to be a pacifist and just allow life
Right.
to happen
Yeah.
to
It's your
you. You're going
nature.
to show up. Yeah, you're going to show up
Yeah. You're
and
gonna do your
actively be
nature.
a participant in your own life. But when we talk about submission and alignment, we talking about flow. You know,
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks is like, not to, I don't know if you like Abraham Hicks, like
I hear
it's
you.
about flow. You know, when
Right.
you swimming, if you swim and you get caught in a riptide, go fight that wave and see what happens.
Bloop,
You
bloop,
have
bloop, bloop, bloop.
you have to flow. Flow is about
Or
I am
surrender.
allowing. You know, there's a difference between allowance and
Yeah.
forcing.
You know,
And what
it's
I'm talking about is allowance.
I
I
say.
mean, yeah, I mean, I totally
So
get it. Like literally, you going on missions, you're going on adventures where these things are going to be flex. Like I'm literally getting ready to go on a mission. I'm getting ready to go to a country where women are suppressed. You know what I mean? Literally, I'm getting ready to go to the Middle East. So why I know that this is another mission for me. Like I got to pick up another skill going in here. You know what I mean? How to really deal with men in business. You know what I mean? Like this is a
yeah.
challenge. Like I gotta change my brain, or I gotta gain a huge skill in negotiation and that to a diamond's Mercury. I gotta gain a skill in challenging men in finances and money and all this other stuff, and still knowing what their opinion of women is. So
But
I gotta
the
Right. You
fall of
have to know
patriarchy is
the
inevitable, though.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
this
we're
is
sorry.
important. I wanted to say this. The person Vale is upset. You have to know your chart, right? So it's who you are. If you know the cards you're being dealt with, then you know how to play your game. It's not going to
Yes.
be the same for everyone. Everyone's going to have a different game plan, so to speak. So when I asked you, like, how do you use this for you? And you said, well, you play to win, right? So the reason why I asked that is because a lot of people that may be in the chat don't know anything about astrology, right? And then when you said you have to line up with what's meant for you, there's a lot of readings that I do. I focus on North Node astrology, and I base the whole reading from the position of the North Node, where it's in, what it's doing, the chart ruler, and how it's corresponding with that, and also utilizing their life path number and seeing what's going on with that. And then it begins to tell its own story. So when the main question I get from a lot of people, they'll ask me, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, why am I here? Right? And there's a lot of us that are walking around like we don't know, but you know. So here's the thing, because many people don't know astrology, but you have this innate knowing. Your
You do.
soul knows,
You do.
right?
It
And so
does.
when I start unpacking their chart, and they know many of them never even been to had any kind of reading, and I unpack their chart. If I had $1 for every time someone said, "I always wanted to do that."
Mhm.
Oh man, when I was a child, I used to do that, right? So it's embedded in you to what I was telling earlier. It's a desire that's already in you. But sometimes on planet Earth, though, we are full of distractions. And one of the main distractions is religion, right? So let's say a woman may have Mercury and Virgo in the sixth house or in the third house, and she always wanted to be a mechanic, right? She always wanted to work with cars. And society told her that's not what women do. So now she's trying to, she's doing what society wants her to do, but she's miserable and it's eating her alive. So if she comes to me and I'm like, "Well, you're really good with your hands. Are you an architect? Are you an engineer? Do you?" She was like, when I was a kid, I always used to work with my father and this and that. And my mother said, this is girls don't do this. So I was sent off to nursing school or something like that, right? And so now she's doing something, even it may be within that, but she's not happy, right? She's not fulfilling her the labor of love. She's not exercising that. And that North Node is not being satisfied, even though she may be tapping into the MC. a mini coli, right? She
Mhm.
might be tapping into certain other parts. But if you don't know how to read your chart to walk in your purpose, it's a puzzle that you're scattered. And oh yeah, my Mercury's over here, my Jupiter's over here, this and that and the other. But how do you piece this thing together so that it makes sense for you to fulfill your destiny? Now, I got another sister I want to bring on here. She's been waiting patiently, and I know she's itching, right? And so, lady, without further ado, I'm going to bring on the astrology doctor. What's happening, sis? Welcome to the platform. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your
Greetings.
patience. How are you? How are you doing this evening,
I'm
sis?
well. I'm well. Loving the vibe.
The vibe is
Listen to
popping.
everybody intuitively. It's great.
Yes. So this sister here, I was traveling when I came across this sister, and I was doing a live, and I was in Mexico at the time, and all of a sudden I just seen astrology doctor at the bottom. She's like, "Oh, I'm in Mexico too," and I'm like, "What?" And it was like I was live, but I was really just talking to her, got it in the chat, and we was just going in about astrology. And I'm really fascinated. My Venus is in Virgo, so I'm fascinated about healthcare, health and wellness. And when you connected the dots and the way that you break it down about your zodiac sign, you should be having a certain diet and a certain foods. And when transits come around, because I had an outbreak, I was talking to you last week, and I like
Mhm.
seafood. And since Mars has been transiting Cancer, I can't eat seafood. I'm breaking out all over the place. And I had this rash, this crazy all over me. And then when I was talking to you, he was like, "Yeah, you might not want to eat seafood right now." And I was like, "Oh shit, this
Great
gets
chat.
that deep." So introduce yourself to everyone, let them know what you do, and let's get into this medical astrology.
Oh, yeah. Peace and healing, everybody. I'm Dr. Hines Bay. Some people call me the astrology doctor. My study has the last 15 years has been in medical astrology, herbology, and like wellness practitioner and Ayurvedic healing, as far as using quantum healing, frequency healing, and of course, herbal medicine as well. And yeah, I just pretty much help people bridge the ancient science of medical astrology, which originally was the science of healing before modern medicine took over,
Mhm.
and your natal contract, the transits, the natural cycles of the cosmos, and how the planetary influences our health, our natal chart, and the energetics of our body and the organs. And this helps pretty much when you understand your medical astrology along with your natal contract, it helps you align with your highest health and wealth and destiny, basically, as we are all in our ascension phase, ascension process while we're here on this planet or in this realm. So health and wealth go hand in hand together. And when you utilize medical astrology, you can prevent illness, you can prevent disease, you can prevent aging, reverse protection. It is the true long-term healthcare.
Yeah.
So that's what I teach people. That's what I've been using for my life, for my family, healing clients, and everything, and merging together herbology, medical astrology, um, and all the other Ayurvedic healing aspects of medicine. They all
So
are in tuned, and especially with what the other ladies are saying,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
even
absolutely.
Cardology, that is
So if
definitely
someone comes to
integral.
you and they're having symptoms, right? What is the first thing that you look at?
Um, I first have them send me pictures of their face, their tongue, their hands, and close up of their eyes, because before a chronic diagnosis comes, your body shows it like
Mhm,
way many years before it even turns into a huge diagnosis. But most people, they don't look at their hands, they don't read their tongue, they don't read their eyes on a daily basis. They're not reading their face. So I'll read their face first, and
mhm.
then I will read their chart, and I'll read their sun sign, their moon sign, and their rising sign. That's the trinity of health. And then depending on how deep their diagnosis is, or how afflicted they are, I'll go deeper into their chart, looking at all the other planetary influences for them. So essentially, the first thing I do look at is their face and their hands
Why
and
the
their eyes and
face?
their body, because our body reflects the astrology as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
the sections of your face basically equals organs. So, you know, our lips is the large intestine, your under eyes is the kidneys and the pancreas and the small intestines, and then also the alignment of astrology on your face and your tongue. Like everything is ruled, every body part has a ruling organ that associates with astrology.
Can I ask her a
Go ahead.
question?
Sure.
I'm sure you're familiar with that book, The Face Never Lies.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
I when I read that book, I know that the book is like they describe it as Chinese medicine.
Chinese medicine,
Right.
which is our ancient, like when you understand who
Yes.
the Chinese are, the indigenous Chinese, or man, you know, all those historic, all of it is ours. The Indian, not the feather, but the dot, like the Hindu medicine, like it's all
Mhm.
connected.
Right.
So, studying modern medicine and associated with medical astrology at the same time, especially I was studying ingredients. I deep dive in the ingredients. I deep dive in pharmaceuticals. Even modern medicine uses medical astrology. They align their pharmaceutical drugs and their injections and everything with the astrology as well. If you guys remember, you know, I don't know if I don't want to set the live off, but
No, go ahead.
the CV-19, like that was
Oh, yeah.
all in alignment with the astrology as
Yeah, it
well.
was.
Injection
Big
back
in a
then.
big way. Yes.
So, but when people understand the herbal side and the holistic side, you would have known what to do to protect yourself, and you wouldn't have had to
Mm.
even jump into the
Right,
other side,
right,
which
right.
causes even more, in my opinion, more malefic aspects. I'm not against modern medicine because, you know, you do need surgeons and everything, but as far as long-term health, when you learn medical
Prevention, yeah.
astrology and your natal contract, I mean, you become sovereign to your health and to
Mm.
your family health. You won't
What
rely
made you
on them, and no doctor will be able to tell you about your body.
what
I
made
often
you make
tell
that
doctors
connection?
to
Like,
tell them.
what made you start to correlate medicine and astrology, and how did you make it so that you noticed the difference in your life when you started going along? You're looking at your chart and the foods that you eat and the medicine that you take.
Yeah, so my connection came from one, healing myself. I had several health issues. I had skin issues, I had eczema, I had hormonal acne since childhood all the way to adulthood. And I was like, I thought I'm supposed to grow out of this. And it was getting worse and worse. My hair was falling out. Um, and none of the doctors were able to tell me anything about it. They would just put me on more steroids and more creams and stuff like that, or say, here's the next best injection, like this will hold you over. And then also my family, I just got tired of my tribe just dying, like my grandmother having cancer, my mom, my
Mhm.
grandmother being a Sagittarius with back problems and liver cancer, my mom being a Scorpio with a Pisces, with the Aquarius moon, and her having teeth issues and reproductive issues and having to
Mm.
have her uterus moved and fibroids, and then having so many Virgos in my family, and they all have indigestion problems and intestinal problems.
Wow. Yeah.
I first started with me, and then once I was able to heal myself, and then I just started looking at the history, the health history of my family according to their birth time in medical astrology. And then as a herbalist, people were already coming to me for herbal health remedies and everything. So I started to apply astrology, medical astrology, and looking at their chart, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you know, you have high blood pressure and heart issues, and you're a Leo, and you know, the
Mhm.
women, you're a Cancer with hormonal problems, and this is your mood. Like it just all connects, and
Click.
even
Yeah.
herbology connects. It tells you with the transits, the planetary alignment, the herbs are in alignment with the astrology as well. So with Pisces season, you know what you should be taking during Pisces season. During, Aquarius season, I'm an Aquarius, we just passed. We're ruled by our circulation and our nervous system. We always have issues in our shin, our legs, and sight problems or nerve problems or anxiety problems. So using herbs, natural herbs, instead of being on Xanax and all these other, pharmaceutical drugs, has messed up our system. I'm looking at the valerian, I'm looking at St. John's wort, I'm looking at blue lotus, your tea, to help calm the nerve system, to help protect the circulation system. Shout out to your blue lotus.
Thank you.
So,
so let me ask you, so what about when your solar return comes? Is that a time to power up around when the sun is in your sign, or is that do you eat differently? Is that cheat time, or is that a time to really focus on building up your health? And also the second part of that question is, does it depend on a planet that may be transiting your house of wellness, the sixth house? Is that a boost time for health? Opposition. Like, how do you construct when you should really fortify your body? Like, really, this is the opportune time to really get the best nutrients in your body, or when is the time that you may want to fast? Is it by alignment, or how does that work?
Yeah. So for me, before my solar return, because during your sun sign, it's your most vitality sign. But if you've been in the malefic aspects all year round, don't think that when your solar return comes around, you're going to be healthy. For me, I always fast before my solar return and doing the detox, or doing the cleanse. And then once your solar return happens, you can look at your transits for the year, just like going to the doctor and having like a physical checkup every year, so you can see the transits that are coming through, the conjunctions, see where Mars is, where Saturn is, where Uranus is, where Pluto is, and what house aspects, because different from regular astrology, like the first house is your individual's health states, and then the second house rules your the way you process wellness or disease. And then, your third house is understanding the various type of communication when it comes to self or others about health. And then the fourth house is about emotional peace or emotional conflict when it comes to disease, and so on and so on. So all through 12 houses. So when you're looking at the transits, you can go by month, you can go by year, you can go by day, you can go by hour. So it just depends on what state you are in, what goals you want for the year. So if I was, I'm in my 42nd progression year. So I just came out of health and detox, and at 41, health detox. So that whole year I was learning how to detox my signs. So my sun sign Aquarius, my moon is in Scorpio, my rising is in Sagittarius. So I had a lot of reproductive health maintenance with the moon in Scorpio, because as a woman, especially, paying attention to your moon cycle and your moon placements, because we are energetic beings. It's one of our greatest masters in heavier ruling placements, versus the sun sign plays more effect on men's health versus the moon on women's health. So, and then, my liver and detoxing all that with my Sagittarius, I didn't have any, huge dis-ease in my life. And I maintained that by tracking. But if I did, I would have dived deep into correction according to the placements and upcoming transits. So,
wow. I remember. So you had,
because you're a Scorpio moon, I'm a Scorpio sun, but I'm a Sag moon, and then we're a Sag rising, right?
Yeah, I'm a Sag.
Yeah,
That's
so you're
interesting.
saying that I'm hitting
Wow.
I
places.
know. I was watching you too. I was like, damn, what are they like inverse?
We are. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There was a comment you made a while ago. I tried some plant medicine, right? And I forgot you said you have Moon in Scorpio, because I have Moon in Scorpio, and you was like, "Ooh, you should do it when the Moon is in Scorpio, so you could really go in and start removing some of that trauma and this and that." And I was like, I never thought about that. And at the same time, I'm a bit of a punk because Moon in Scorpio was not an easy placement,
I
and
think you had a full moon. It was like during a
yeah,
full moon in Scorpio
it was
transit too.
like that, right? And I was like, oh, I was sitting over here like, should I do this? Because I don't know what's in there all the way. I might have an idea, but the reason why I brought
Death
that up
and
is
rebirth.
by the reason why I brought that up is because your moon placement, let's talk women's health, right? And the
Mhm.
placement of the moon where it is can be holding a lot of emotional energy. And
Yes.
we know like that can be the root of a lot of diseases that we're facing, right? And you was talking about sometimes we'll have cravings that from emotion, like you want to eat chips all the time. That's
Mhm.
something, there's some anger going on there, right? You
Yeah.
want to eat sweets all the time. There's something that there's some comforting or some lack of maybe that you're not spicy food. All of this is connected. So when I think of people of like emotional eaters, is that coming from the placement of their moon that's having these cravings from them? In your opinion, is that what could be causing that? And does that directly correlate to their health?
Absolutely. Especially for women, if you're a earth sign moon or a water sign, those are heavy emotional heavy hitters when it comes to emotionally eating and your emotional health. So, like you said, if you notice during your cycle, and for women, we go through a cycle within a cycle every month. And we have our ovulation phase, we have our follicle phase. There's 4 phases, just like the seasons, like summer, winter, spring, and fall. So understanding those cycles according to the moon phases, because the moon changes every 2.5 days. So if you're like right now, we're in a Pisces stellium, heavy
Yes,
emotions right now for the collective, right?
about to say.
Pisces
So
moon right here.
Ooh,
man, so
Pisces rising.
so
look
how is
at
your
everybody
emotions right now?
connected over
You guys
here.
are stable? Like for me, the last couple of days, I've had my Hertz music on. I've been sipping my tea. I've been drinking my chlorophyll
Ah,
water. I
yeah.
had to go heavy on the emotional herbs, hormone herbs. Like so, I've been
Wow.
using the lotus, drinking the lotus tea. Like I said before, the Saint John root. I've been
And, and
the
this is a 9 of Hearts week, which deals with heavy emotions and the releasing of emotions.
Man, that's
yes.
why I've been
Yeah.
feeling the way I'm feeling.
And the Schumann resonance has been
Off
percolating.
the
Like
chain. You said percolate.
we literally
Human
went through like
resonance.
4
Going through.
different timeline jumps. So, and it's a new moon. So, if you're
Mm,
unstable,
perfect.
you are probably a serial killer right now. So,
Damn.
But
Yeah, one of my
that's
clients got in a fight today with one of her clients came up to her and just literally started a fight. So I was
People
like, yeah,
unleashing out here,
yeah, yeah.
unhinging.
yeah,
I
you're in a
think
whirlpool right
people are
now.
tweaking because a lot of people have missed their, like we earlier we were talking about divine instruction and
Hmm.
I think everybody has different instructions at different times based on how transits are impacting their
Mm,
personal blueprint. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of people are hard-headed, just to put it simple, and they're
yeah.
missing marks and they're missing time
Mm,
frames where they're supposed to have either made a pivot or processed something, and they're short circuiting. They're short circuiting. So I think
Yes.
that's what's going on with folks.
ooh,
Saturn
this
They
is
is
took
Saturn
great.
and
the
This is great shit.
malefic. They took the malefic aspect route
Mm,
versus the benefic aspect, and it goes hand in
yes.
hand. Like you could be this Pisces stellium. You could be highly in tune to your intuition, your downloads right now. If you're on the benefic aspect, you're in like we
Or
are right now,
creative.
with
Or
the
somebody
occult.
could steal your
You're
wallet.
creative.
It happened to me.
Or they could be delusional,
Or you
depressed,
just want to get high all the
emotional
time.
right now. So it just depends on, the route that you've taken. Have
Right.
you been following your natal health path to make
This-
sure? And then some people could be being diagnosed with dis-ease right now, because if you're a Pisces or heavy Pisces
Or hidden.
in your natal contract,
Yeah.
you need to filter your system. So if you're eating all the junk, drinking all the alcohol, like you ain't detoxed your gut, like imagine a fish in a murky fish tank. Okay.
Turning upside down.
Exactly.
Belly up. Goddamn.
You're
Belly
not
up out
drinking
here.
greens, you're not eating salad, you're not eating raw. I know a lot of
Mhm.
Pisces, they have digestion issues and they have heavy allergies, because they need heavy filtration for their health vitality in the water. Your
Air.
skin is your biggest absorbing organ. So a lot of Pisces, they don't realize how many chemicals they put on their body. Even taking a shower, taking a bath. Y'all need Celtic salt. Y'all need chlorophyll. Y'all need to have raw, to have veg. And
Y'all hear this, everybody? I better listen up.
You just described my son, who's a king of clubs, but he has a Pisces moon. He's a Sag with a Pisces moon. So his king of clubs, all of you, what you mentioned, there's a need for them to do the filtration thing, because they can have a problem with elimination. They could hold their anger in their stomach. When they hold, their anger is going to go in their stomach. That's what you see in Cardology. You see where the energy goes. So if you got a problem, so like with me, it's gonna go in my womb, even being a Scorpio, but it's in my cards because I have a native spades. It's gonna attack me in my
your
womb.
reproductive organs.
But in the as a king of clubs, they have a queen of hearts in Pluto, which is the stomach. That's all the pleasures and the eating and all of that. So it's gonna attack them in their stomach and in their intestines. So they're gonna have a problem eliminating stuff. It's gonna back up. They'll get really bad constipation, all of that stuff. So they have to do the eliminate in their skin. They'll break out. They'll get eczema, all of that.
Yes.
What's crazy is after I read The Face Never Lies, that book, which is it's like a bestseller, right? Like it's a popular book. It's so funny, me being a Virgo rising and like progressed Sun and Venus in Virgo. It's like I had to control myself because I'll be looking at people and be like,
figure them out.
I'm like,
exactly. You can see
I'm looking
the
at
disease.
people's faces, like, oh, he has a kidney problem. Oh, his pancreas is he's a fatty liver. And I had to check myself, like, wait a minute, hold on, Virgo ascendant. Don't be coming to people like, excuse me, you might want to go get your liver checked because literally, like what you were saying, like your face.
Yes.
Your
eyes, like if you have yellow eyes, brown eyes, like your liver.
Your liver's
eye bags. Even
this serious. Listen, this right here is a
forehead.
council. This panel on here, y'all. Let me tell you, you people in the chat, folks in the chat. You have a whole council. This is a team right here. If you all have any kind of problems trying to find your destiny, trying to figure out how to decode your chart, trying to get the proper diet. You got the master team right here. This is the supreme team in the building, like for sure. Real talk in here. I wanted to ask you ladies about timelines, right? With astrology. Now it was interesting you said this, Ty. You were like, you may have missed your mark and things like this now. Because when we talk in the charts, it's like, okay, this is what you're born with. You have this information here, but it's up to you, I guess, to execute this thing or not, right? Or so, and if you find yourself, like I was telling earlier about the young lady who always wanted to be this, and her family, she followed what her family wanted, and she wound up being that. Was that altering her timeline, right? Did she shift it? And do you have the ability to jump back on it and do some sort of quantum leap into where you should be? Right.
Yeah, you have a couple of opportunities in life that come around. They just recircle. the opportunity comes around again, the opportunity comes around again. And it'll come around on a micro level too, because you got micro cycles within the bigger cycles. But what I find is that when you miss something, you're typically going to be paired up with somebody who has that, who is in that, where you're supposed to be. So, you know, if you miss your time, then you're going to be reapprenticed up under somebody who is living that life. You're not going to be able to get away from it. You're going to be a reapprenticed up under somebody, like constantly. So if you look up, there's this person doing what you know in your heart you're supposed to be doing, but you still got lessons to learn. So now you're still in school. You're back in school for it, learning. But I do believe that there's a reason for failure. Failure is the key, not success.
Wow.
Because failure
Where's
is
my bomb? Go ahead.
because failure is going to make a greater innovation. Innovations comes from failures. They don't come from successes. You find a way to do it better. You know what I mean? Based off of the failures that you've accomplished, you've undergone. You know, and that's our problem as a people, is that we think that failure got us to where we are, right? And that's not what got us where we are. The stigma around failure is what got us to where we are. And this is just something I learned as being a programmer, because as being a programmer, you will never create anything if you don't make mistakes in the programming. You know what I mean? That's a part of it. If you sit there and dwell on the fact that something is a mistake and you don't launch it, you have failed. You got to launch it even with the mistakes, which is why they're alpha, salt, beta, you know, and there's never a final version. Windows never has a final version of Windows.
So there's no final version of us.
Exactly. There's always patches. So the perfectionism is what really is a key to keeping us back. Because if you look at, I'm around programmers, I'm around guys, you know, the white guy, the bros, right? And they will sit there, drink beer, program, make a ton of mistakes, and be like, "We launching this tomorrow." You know what I mean? And you've used software that's horrible, but you don't, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even think about it. But if you get on my software, one of your own people, you will pick up every little bit, and it will not be good enough. You know what I mean? With the failures, it's super psychological.
So even your mistakes are correct.
Yes, because yes, because they are going to lead. They are going to lead to the innovation. The innovation comes out of mistakes. Think about it like this.
That Saturnian polishing.
Right.
Think about it like this. The reason we're evolving is because we don't make the same mistakes they made 100 and 200 years ago. And astrology may show that we're in the same time of the Civil War, right? But guess what? Our Civil War may not look like their Civil War because we've evolved. So it's another kind of Civil War. It's a cyber Civil War. It's a social Civil war.
Spiritual, right?
But the only way it could evolve is why? Because of the innovation in the way that you're going to do it. So you don't expect it the same way that it was before, because you've now.
And the alignments are different too. That's going on at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What you got, astrology doctor?
I mean, I'm in agreement. Your timeline, you are where you are, where you need to be. So,
okay. So you feel like there's no mistakes. It is what it is.
Like there's no mistakes, no matter where you start. Even if you started on the benefic side or the malefic side, it's just a cycle that's gonna
all roads lead to Mecca.
Your greatness. And until that happens, you're just gonna repeat the cycle over and over and over again.
That's what I see. Now, what do y'all think about people born with retrogrades?
Like, I love retrogrades. Retrogrades
intuitive, like that's when you go inside and try to
love retrograde. Saturn retrograde here. And
so
I love
it. Is it like you're repeating a cycle, or you have to do something over, or
no?
It's like, to me, it's a review. Like I'm reviewing so I can make sure I'm gonna graduate up out of this cycle when I think of retrograde.
Okay.
Um,
Well, it's not a
Retrogrades.
left back, huh?
Retrogrades for me are the underdogs in an area, right? Which
Oh,
all ultimately become the superiors in an area, right? So they start out with
I
they
like
start out with a decline, let's say just a delay, right? And they have to learn harder lessons in the beginning, you know. But ultimately, as they grow, that hard lesson that they learn in the area, that's going to be their superpower. You know what I mean? Like your retrogrades are going to be your superpower. I see it even. It's funny we're talking about today, because today is a 10 of clubs day, and that's like a walk-in retrograde card. And I'll explain it because it's the card of success and communications, but they start out not being able to communicate. So they usually have communication problems young. They have speech delays. They could be like, we have a 10-year-old fully autistic child and he's not talking yet at 4 and 5. I tell his mother, don't worry about it. He's going to be talking. And when he talks, he's going to talk your ear off. Watch. So this is like a retrograde, you know what I mean, in their chart. So it's a delay. It's kind of like holding you back, but this is your superpower. You know what I mean? Your retrograde is going to be your superpower. That is going to be a superpower tool that you're going to be able to use. I have Saturn retrograde. And when I tell y'all, I've grown to be more Capricorn than anybody I know. But my grandmother's a Capricorn. My mother's a Capricorn moon. And
you can't help.
when I was young, I was wild. You know what I mean? I was against all structures. I don't want a structure. I don't want this. I don't want that. Now I'm building structures, building a bank, building this. I'm all about structure now.
What you got, Ty?
As a person who's born with Mars retrograde, Neptune retrograde, and Jupiter retrograde.
Ooh.
Right.
How was
You're the
that Mars
spokesperson.
retrograde each,
and it's funny, in your progress chart, those planets can shift. Like you can have a planet that was retrograde, and then after a certain number of years or transits, that planet is no longer retrograde. So you can graduate from certain
and
things.
vice versa, sure, right?
And vice versa. So I would say each of the planets retrogrades have different meanings. For example, like earlier when I was telling you how growing up in attending religious schools and having a religious foundation, that's Jupiter retrograde. Like Jupiter, is someone who's takes what they've learned in the religious sense, and they're revising it. They're rebuilding themselves off of spiritual and religious tenets and doctrines and things of that nature. And so each of them is different. Like the Mars retrograde, I don't never start a fight. I'm not gonna start the fight.
Where your Mars
I'm gonna finish it though. I'm
Yeah.
gonna finish
Where
it.
your Mars? What sign your Mars in again?
Aquarius.
Oh,
So I'm in mental warfare. I don't walk up to people and be like, "What's good? What's good? Let's get it popping." That's not me. Like I'm Mars Aquarius. Like I'm more of a mental fighter in that respect.
Let's battle.
Right.
Let's have a rap battle.
Mars retrograde just recently.
Because Mars retrograde just ended in Cancer, and
exactly.
Did it end yet? When did it end? Today?
It ended
let me tell you, it lifted because this
lifted
was the hardest 3 months of my entire life.
I'm a Cancer. I mean, you too.
Energetically,
retrograde. Right. The Mars retrograde. Mars being leadership, Mars being take charge, Mars being the head, literally the physical body, like the head, the face. This is like Cancer. Is the reason why I didn't just keep going, progressing to Leo, and it went back into Cancer for 4 or 5 months because Cancers had to step up and take some sort of like leadership position in their own lives. That's what
I have Saturn in Cancer, so it was retrograding over my Saturn.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Now the placement of where it's retrograding is also how it plays out, right? Because you both of us are, I think Ty and I are both the same sun sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it was retrograde in my 12th house. And so my dreams have been crazy. And I've been how can I say, sluggish,
I
just
was going to mention
tired.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
like
It's
my
Pisces
Mars
energy.
tells
retrograde
was
is
sluggish
basically
too.
our
low.
hibernation season. It's like we were
Yes,
supposed to be resting.
yes,
Fertility
Yeah,
is low in men and
fact.
women during that time. So now we're going into a Venus
I cannot
Venus
wait to
retrograde that's
see it. Oh, shoot.
happening starting tomorrow. So
Yep.
be on the
Damn,
lookout
they
for
just
that.
tag teaming. Aren't they square right now? Are they square? They squared right now.
Venus and, and Mars.
Venus,
Yeah,
it's Aries and it's
Yeah.
squaring Mars.
yeah,
Venus
yeah.
is
So
at
it's
the
going to
10th
be
of
Aries
Mars.
and Pisces Venus retrograde, but medically,
Ooh.
your throat, Venus influences your throat and your kidneys
Yeah.
and your lumbar region. So
How
during the
about this?
retrograde,
Mercury is going to retrograde around the same degree that Venus does. Mercury
What?
retrogrades in area. Yeah, like Venus, you said
Well,
it's stationed now at 10, and the retrograde used to start. Mercury is going to retrograde at 9 Aries too. So it's like the same sort of
so
degree. You have to
right.
watch that.
Mhm.
That's
I
interesting.
have there are retrogrades in Cardology that point out to the real retrogrades. So I have two good retrogrades. I have Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde that are positive for me. So they always retrograde is the time when I get things. That everything comes, new relationship, new partnerships, new money. It all comes during retrograde. However, there's Mars retrograde. My Mars placement for retrograde is horrendous. So yeah, so it shows up. So like, but my Venus and my Mercury, I'm expecting all to come. But I have to learn how to. There's still a lesson with it with retrograde. I have to learn how to make good resources with it. You know what I mean? Not just be greedy because I can get it. I gotta learn that not to accept excess in it if it comes in excess. I gotta learn how to say no.
When they talk about 40 days and 40 nights in the Bible, they talk about Venus retrograde, but y'all already knew that.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, I didn't. No,
You
I
didn't
did
know
Yeah.
that?
not. No,
The,
I had
the,
no
the
idea
first the
maybe
that
first
that's
half
what was
is the
going on.
the first half is the release and the second half is the rebirth. So it's like you this is when you can receive, this is good. But you gotta spend the first half cleaning up
Mm.
and getting rid of, making room for the next half for the rebirth.
So right quick, I just threw up this is the current planetary alignment from
Mhm.
where I am right now. Right. So we have 1 degree Scorpio, right? We just went into Scorpio on the ascendant. Now, I wanted to ask you guys this with the stellium and Pisces. I wanted to tap into the Pisces energy down here. Now, you were talking about Mercury is about to go. You said we'll go retrograde at the same degree that Venus is going retrograde. Did you say?
Yeah, like Venus is 10 and it's
Yeah.
stationed now, so Mercury is like 9. Like
Okay.
pretty much same
Now,
number.
with that being said, look at the stellium we have down here in Pisces. So we have the Sun, Saturn, Moon, Mercury, the North Node, and Neptune.
Mm.
Yeah.
What just focusing on this? What do you think this means? Because it's next to the North Node, and I'm like, that's my like soft spot. I love the North Node. It points to the destiny or the purpose of whatever it is that's going on. And with it
Okay.
being in Pisces, who wants to take that? Who wants to go ahead? Go
Ding, ding,
ahead,
ding, ding,
Kai.
ding, ding, ding.
Go
Well,
ahead, get
you
that.
talking this and Aquarius Maximus, I'm not putting your chart out there, but we both have that 29-degree Pisces, right? All right, my moon is 29-degree Pisces. So where is Neptune right now? 28. Where's
29, 20, going to 28, 29.
Yes, it's all
You
of
gonna
that's around my
Nep-
moon. So let me just say what that means to the collective of humanity
no,
overall.
however it's coming to you, whatever your crown load is.
Yes. Here's the crown load with respect to the stellium currently transiting in Pisces. It's all those Saturn, North Node, Neptune.
Let's go.
It's okay. Pisces is the last stop on the zodiac.
Yeah.
That's it. Before you transition and evolve into the next phase, this is the last stop. So for there to be such a heavy concentration of planets right now in the sign of spirituality and mysticism, in the sign of forgiveness, in the sign of things evaporating. Oh, like carbon monoxide, where people just die and they couldn't
Damn.
see it, smell it, hear it. That's Pisces.
There's
Where it's
somebody
like,
just
what
died
happened?
like that?
You know what I'm saying? What happened? Now, you would think Pisces, which symbolizes no boundaries, right? People
Right.
tend to sometimes associate having no boundaries with freedom. Oh, I don't have any boundaries. I don't have any fences. I don't have any, I can go. Then if that's true, why is Pisces associated with jails?
Mm.
How can you have no walls and fences and be free, but Pisces is jail, right? Because when you don't have boundaries, that is incarceration, ironically. When you don't have limitation, when you don't have limitation and you don't have a set of solid boundaries, parameters, which we talked about earlier, because everybody's like, oh, I can't do what I want. No, that is incarceration. And that's the irony. Pisces rules mental illness, jails. It rules music too.
Yeah,
Think the three
yeah. I'm about to
words:
say, can we
magic,
get some high vibration? Go ahead.
yeah, magic, mystic, and music. All of that's Pisces. The 3 M's: magic, mystic, and music. So right now, Saturn being reality, Saturn being, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting all excited because
Go ahead, boo. I know this.
My moon is surrounded. I've experienced every level of that, from dreams, the Neptunian dreams, everything from just whatever, things disappearing. Pisces is where things go missing. All of that I've been experiencing with my moon there. Music, as you know. So with that being said, this is what we have to understand. Saturn is consequences. Saturn is reality, right? Pisces is the illusion. So you got the planet of reality transiting the sign of illusion. This is where the dreams either become real or Saturn comes through and says that illusion got to go. It's not realistic. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. Saturn comes through and makes the dream concrete, because Pisces is the dream. Remember, Saturn and Neptune got to meet up. Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune
it's coming soon, honey.
It's coming up. It's got to meet up. Soon. And matter of fact, April 4th, April 6th, April 4th through the 6th, Venus is going to meet up, because it's going to be retrograding, going back to Pisces. Venus is going to meet up with the North Node. And Saturn and Venus retrograde are going to meet up, while the North Node and Mercury retrograde. This is all back in, this is Pisces.
About it. Oh, wow.
So you talking about relationships.
This is heavy.
This is so, I mean, my moon is surrounded. Okay. So I'm telling you, so everybody want to know, okay, how does this apply to my life? What should I be learning from this? What does this mean to me? Whether I have the moon in Pisces, Sag, Gemini, whatever. What does it mean? Well, it's going to mean different things to different people, right? Depending on your chart. I'm not going to tell you it means the same thing to everybody. For example, if you have the sun in Gemini right now, that stellium is in your 10th house of public profession. Everybody's got a different situation going on, right? If you're a Virgo, that's a stellium in your 7th house of partners. Right. So it's going to be different for everybody. So don't play yourself and think, well, I don't need to go get my chart read by Aquarius Maximus or Astrology Doctor or Shah Bless or
all of us, honey. You need to hit one at a time, baby.
Yeah, like don't play yourself, because it means different things to different people. But that stellium, know that it is in the last. This is what you really need to focus on. That it's in the last sign of the zodiac, which means that things are coming to an end in order for you to transition to the beginning, which is Aries. That's the start, right? You're gonna have to dissolve something, absolve, and resolve. Some things.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the easiest, like astrology 101 way that I'm sure that everybody else got a different.
So there's an interesting thing going on with cardology in this placement. So next week is a 10 of Hearts week. The 10 of Hearts is the card that deals with floods. It deals with deep water, deep emotions, and floods, right? So it's coinciding with all of these planets underwater, you know what I mean? Which is what Pisces as well. So there's a few things I know that I see coming. Of course, there's probably going to be some major flooding event somewhere. We also have already been undergoing a disclosure with UFOs, etc., and it's been pretty much confirmed that they're coming from under the ocean, right?
Mhm.
And why that's significant to me is because I'm actually initiated to a water deity under the ocean that rules under the ocean.
It's the
So and then this year I'm displacing that card. So you can find out what's going on with the earth in your own spread. Like whatever's going on with your spread is going on with the world, right? So when I
It
saw
ain't
that,
just you.
it's not just you, right? People are just perceiving it differently.
Right.
So when I found out, when I know I was displacing the 10 of hearts, I was like, wow, something really big is going to go on with water and what's down
Mm,
there and, what we're going to find
what's
out.
hidden?
That's
Yeah.
one thing. But to also point to what she said about prison, 10 of hearts would technically be a prison because any heart is a home and a prison holds a lot of people. So a 10 of hearts would be either a hospital or a prison, right? So what you're looking at is an event. Maybe it's going to be a protest or something where a lot of people get imprisoned. Maybe it's going to happen within the next, because we're at the new moon in Pisces, right? So maybe it's going to happen sometime within this Pisces, new moon in Pisces part, where they're right now behind the scenes planning on what to do with civil unrest, which is some
Mm,
type of imprisonment. You also have Guantanamo Bay, which is also falls below that as well, where they're sending migrants to Guantanamo Bay. So there's some type of event that's going to happen, and I think it's going to be like a big protest where people get arrested because you normally right now the protests have been peaceful. But now that we're moving out of Mars retrograde, the protests are not going to be peaceful anymore. So there's likely this is what this is pointing to, is some type of big unrest and now arrests. And so the next move for probably Elon and all of them is not just firing people, it's how we're going to contain people.
wow.
Mhm.
Wow. What you see, astrology doctor, when it comes to health and wellness, or whatever comes to mind for you?
On the medical astrology perspective, we know that, Pisces is a water sign. It's a mutable sign. It's all about, the stellium is all about emotional detox, subconscious reprogramming, spiritual healing. And with the ruling of this stellium, it's the lymphatic system. So fluids, detox your immune response, cellular damage, feet and circulation, so nerve endings, energetic grounding and fluid retention in those areas. It also is about the pineal gland. So I see a lot of spiritual insights. We already talked about intuition. Dream state is going to be extremely active for all of us. Tapping into the dream state, mastering the dream state, melatonin production. It also is a governing for the nervous system. So emotional sensitivity. If you are on the benefic side or malefic side, you can have symptoms of overstimulation or psychotic breaks we might notice in the collective as well for the people who are unbalanced with this energy. And then also the liver and elimination. So releasing a lot of toxins, because toxins are also stored emotions, and those stored emotions are subconscious imprints for the collective. So when it comes to the stellium, it's all about physically the collective health aspects, mental, spiritual, and the outside, like the physical effects, like that we're seeing on the level of looking at the government and everything like that. But physically in your body, you want to pay attention to fluid retention and swelling in your circulation. Anything, if you have a weakened immune system, mental fog and fatigue, confusion, emotional numbness, and then any addiction issues, we're clearing all of that. So unhealthy coping mechanisms or avoiding reality, because that's a Pisces trait as well. So to master these things, to be on the other side of this energy, it's that emotional detox to these sensitivities, to get to this spiritual awakening and these downloads, and to clear this mental fog, and to clear being overwhelmed, and to clear all these physical symptoms if you do have malefic aspects of fluid retention, muscle aches, fatigue, body issues from your head to your third eye to your pineal gland. So the key is to surrender and just pay attention to these emotional waves that are coming, that we're all in, and taking care of your body and cleansing, especially with this, if you have Pisces placements. But if you don't, this is the collective energy as far as the health aspects. So just paying attention to all of those.
Would this be this measles outbreak too that's going on right now?
If I think that is coming from the water, they're putting that in the water.
Yeah, so this would be this water stellium.
So the water sign here.
As they poisoned us many times via the
Jesus.
water. So that's why filtration is extremely important. Having water filtrations. They've been poisoning our communities via the water and the ocean for millennia. That's like one of their huge war strategies is the water, because we are our water bodies, and the frequencies as well, the vibration of our water bodies. That's how this water planet is basically ruled, is by water. So that is one of the major war tactics, or genocide, I would say, tactics. Is
and
water.
that's another thing too, that a pandemic is going to come out of this.
Another one.
Yeah,
and it's going to be more spiritual.
Take me now.
It's going to be spiritual. Here's the thing: we're in World War III is spiritual.
I say.
Right. So
I say
all of these pandemics, epidemics, which next level pandemic or whatever. The reason why they're not affecting everyone the same is because the World War III is spiritual. It's vibrational, right? Now, that's something you have to think about. I'm not saying that we don't have physical symptoms or there aren't physical ailments that are taking place, but I think it's imperative in this particular juncture where we are in humanity, especially with that Pisces stellium. And Pisces is illness. Pisces is mental illness. Pisces is hospitals, institutions, right? I think, but it's also spirituality. You have to also think about Uranus. Uranus and Jupiter. Jupiter is what? Higher moral truth, spiritual.
Yeah. Can I get some? Let me get some on here. Let me get a little bit. Can I tap in?
Go in, yeah.
Can I tap in? Just a little bit. All of that, I agree with everything everyone is saying in regards to this. But I wanted to stick kind of more what you're saying on the spiritual component on there, because people are talking about raising their frequency and their vibration and their great awakening, right? As we are in these final stages, right? Saturn rules time in the last sign of the zodiac, right? So when they say last days, what last days are we really in? As it moves closer and closer to Pisces ruler at the last decan in Pluto, the Pluto decan, which is death, rebirth, and transformation. The North Node is in there too, connecting to Mercury, right? What words that are being spoken? Because when Mercury is in Pisces, that's prophecy. That's someone who can speak prophetically, right? Or through the words that they carry. They could either be lying, right? Or they're speaking words into existence, right? The water alone, deep water, that's receptive, it's magnetic, right? So the words that you are speaking out into saying now will carry some sort of weight of shaping and molding your destiny. This is why it's very important to watch what you say when Mercury is close to the North Node. Not to mention, we just came out the new moon. Was it a partial eclipse or so? I'm not sure about that, but and would it sandwich between Saturn?
Yeah, partial solar
and the moon. Yeah. So that marker. Now the thing would really the news was talking about the Pope and with the sun conjunct Saturn, squaring Jupiter, right? So that's news about some kind of religious leader,
Yeah.
right? Priest, priesthoods. Could there be disclosure about these secret societies? Because Pisces is secret too, right? Is Mercury gonna tell it as it gets, or is it gonna be restricted? But it's moved away from Saturn. It's not going retrograde, right?
When
So
the sun sextiles Uranus, when the sun gets to 23 Pisces and sextiles Uranus at 23 Taurus, that is going to be the surprise, you know. When
aha.
Mercury Uranus, like Mercury Uranus, that's a, oh wow, like shocking information.
The
It's coming out.
opportunity, yeah, that will be, that's in a couple days,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's not
Yeah.
far. It's in a couple days.
yeah.
So listen to what, the things that are being said, everything that you're saying about the water. I like what you said about what's in the water, the secret about the water, right? We all looking up. There's a sister on TikTok. I forgot her name. She said, everybody, we praying, we looking up to the skies. I think we need to be going to the waters. And it was a time that a lot of people were dreaming about the waters, right? Connecting to the deep waters, those ancestral waters or cosmic waters. What will be sacrificed? All right. Is there going to be an exchange? Is there going to be, oh, when you were saying mass arrest, is that the sacrifice that will be in play? When you
I,
say
I
right, go ahead. I'm
I
listening.
think that on the flip side of the imprisonment is really where enlightenment happens too. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So, like, my take on the pandemic was people were supposed to be home gaining that enlightenment, right? But the
yeah.
first one wasn't effective yet because it was like people kind of took it for a joke, you know what I mean? But this next one will be serious enough that people will only seek inner, you know what I mean? Because they have to figure it out. They have to find out the truth. They have to know because it just doesn't make sense. Like life is not making sense at all on the outside. And they're gonna have to find out what makes sense to them during this time. So it's gonna be different. It's not going to be what it was. Well, I always told people that other pandemic was just a way of the universe preparing you for the real thing. So
Practice run.
you always get preparation for anything. You always do. You just don't pay attention to it. So this one is more serious. You're more contained. You can't leave your home. You're being surveilled. You're being whatever. You know what I mean? Like technology is gonna take over your movements. You
Let me
know,
ask you this.
into
Is
a new
this
world.
so let me ask you this question. Do you think this will be more national or global?
I think that this will probably be more national.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because I
Mhm,
believe that the USA is being isolated. America is being isolated, you know?
mhm.
So you got all of these people now on this side, like these months are crazy. You know what I
Mm,
mean? That's what they think. Pisces, 12th house, they think we're all crazy. Because how did we let this happen? Is what they're saying. They might
true.
sound nice online, but in reality, they're like, them Americans is crazy.
As an outsider looking in, because I see now that I'm in Mexico, I see, and yes, it's like
Yeah,
the scene is the Americans, the US, like,
it's
and
over
a
with.
lot of the stuff that's happening to people in the US, it's not happening to us over
The
here.
rest of the world.
So
Exactly,
Right,
exactly.
right.
yeah, it's
So when you
definitely
look at the
the
Saturn,
Truman Show of the
I was
US.
I wanted to get to the last point about Saturn when you were talking about pandemic, and people may want to see, well, how do you see that, right? So for me, I see it is when Saturn conjuncts Neptune,
Neptune.
right? And then it's going to be
Okay.
conjuncting Neptune in the decan of Pluto. So there's something that needs to be uh, ending to be reborn, right? So
Flushed out.
right, the final detox of it all,
Yeah.
right? And the final sign and the last
Purification.
deacon, And before the reset, when Saturn resets and crosses over into Aries, which
Aries.
starts the time clock all over
Over
again.
again. Yep.
So you can look at that and seeing it through this particular alignment. And so what I was saying with the stellium though, that means Pisces energy is activated, right? And all of these things that you're saying is going to carry weight. It's very interesting that we are in I believe it should have been moving by now. I want to see something here. I had this at the current time to make sure we were in the right ascendant because yeah, here we go. At 6 degrees ascendant. This is just the wider form. So we're in Scorpio, right? And which is ruled by Mars and Pluto. And the weight, and we're talking death, right? We're talking what are we talking? Pandemics and shit like that, right? So this is what you saying, like we are kind of governed underneath these frequencies and we're having this conversation. And we have a sister that's in the we two three of us are in the country and one of us are not. And our perceptions are going to be different. And
Mhm.
when I noticed when I did leave out of here and I was gone for 6 months, it's like the spell of America was broken.
And
And
I'm
it's
leaving in a couple of days out of
yeah,
here.
you
That's
may not
what's
even
so
want to
wild.
come back
But I
until
can't. My
after.
babies is here. That's why
I hear you. I
I
hear
was
you.
so worried because everybody's telling me. I told them I'm not. I'm only staying for 3 weeks. They're like, no, you're gonna stay longer. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
no, I don't want to stay longer.
you
I'm
never
fighting
know,
that.
right? Yeah, I
The
mean,
They're
these
like,
spell
things.
you're
breaks
gonna
after
So you
stay
know
longer.
what?
3
The
days.
words
Once
that
you
you're
leave.
saying, I don't know where your Mercury is, right? So that the
Scorpio.
words that oh shit, then it's making it stronger, right?
Where are you
So
going?
the
Do you know
words
what
that you're carrying.
astrocartography placement you're going to?
I,
Like,
I'm going. I'm going to Qatar.
do you know where that is on your
Um,
astrocartography line?
Actually, I didn't look, but the interesting thing is this year it's my environment in Cardology.
Are
So that's actually a good placement. That
supposed
means
to
it
go.
it, it covers me, this year. It's covering me, it's
You're going to
giving
learn
me
something. Yeah, you might not come back, or you might come back to get your
Your
children to the
children or
next.
send for them. You may
Yeah.
send for them.
Hmm.
If if this be all of what I'm saying, I'm trying to say, we sleep on Mercury, right? We don't sleep on Mercury because your words are gonna shape your future by what you're saying, right? So you're
Conjunct that north
saying
node.
this is gonna happen, right? You know what I'm saying? This is
Yeah.
gonna happen, this is gonna happen. It may not happen in the way that you're saying for everybody, but when you're saying it, it may start shaping and molding that around for you, especially when y'all have placements in Pisces, right? So you're going to feel this energy a little bit more than others that may not have this placement. They may experience these things, but depending upon how you're utilizing the power of the word to shape and mold, to be a chameleon, because that's Pisces. Pisces is the magician at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So this is why you got to look at the different frequencies of this. If it's pointing out that for you in your layout and your cards, then that's how it's pointing out for you. But some of us have we're manipulators. We're alchemists. That's the whole
Mhm.
point. Like the show
Right.
is alchemizing. Okay, if this is in my toolbox, right? I can build whatever it is I need to build coming out of this. Because today with this alignment, I'm now that I'm really looking at it, all day I was working on music. All day I was writing and reconstructing and remixing and remastering. I was doing music like
I'm
all day.
programming all
Right? You
day.
see what I'm
Program.
saying? Right. So and I noticed and it's a new moon. So the new moon is like the new beginning. Is so the beginning of the end, kind of so to speak. Right. And the dreams that
Mhm.
I was having with this Mars in Aries, it was in Cancer retrograde, and it was conjuncting my Mercury, right? And it was
Mhm.
so ancestral that what I was dreaming of my ancestors that passed, and then they passed in the dream. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? So it's like, hold up, what's really, how do we, what's going on? Well, let me decipher this. Let me see what's happening. And it was like, when I started decoding it, it's an initiation. And so when you're looking at all water signs are dealing with some sort of spiritual initiation
Yes,
in a
Lord.
way. You know what I'm saying? So what
You know what,
this
Sha? I want to say something about Jupiter in
yeah, go
reference
ahead.
to that real quick. So, in terms of these pending pandemics that could happen,
Mhm.
they're
Uh-oh, the bell rang.
very that's the bell of confirmation. I think what we have to be mindful of in these times when we say Pisces represents the ending, right? The
Yeah.
last stop on the wheel. But there's so many new beginnings that are coming. And of
Right.
course, before you have a new beginning, you need to have endings, right? Jupiter's going to
Yes.
leave Gemini, ending that, go into Cancer. Uranus is going to leave Taurus and go into Gemini.
Right.
Saturn and Neptune are going to leave Pisces and go into Aries. So this is in a couple months. You're talking about brand new beginnings. So when you
Yeah.
talk about people getting sick again because of worldwide illnesses or nationwide illnesses, I'm telling you, please, everybody, listen, everybody in the chat, whatever, this is vibrational.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to, with that, all of that Pisces, which you just said is mysticism, spirituality, dissolving things that you no longer need to carry, heavy weights, spiritual, mental, emotional weights that you, like the astrology doctor saying, purging on a physical level. But this is vibrational. You can get your frequency to a point where an illness cannot reside. In the astrology doctor, I know you can co-sign this. Illness cannot reside in your temple because
Hashay,
you are
how you
vibrating.
vibrating.
The weight of human resonance, like you were saying earlier, the human resonance going up as it's continually increasing. Like that's the heartbeat of the planet.
Disease does not exist in 5D.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
we didn't even hit on that.
Right. So if you are trapped in a 3D mindset way of functioning, you're going to get sick, whether it's from a pandemic, because you're not going to be able to successfully exist. You're not going to be able to live because of this is all vibrational at this point. Don't even get caught up in the 3D politics because it's all symbolic. Listen.
Yeah, facts.
It's all
Yes, ma'am.
symbolic. Don't get caught up in it because, and y'all were talking about Elon and Trump earlier. I didn't even give my opinion on that. Like they have their synastry is crazy between them. But here's the thing, right? Putting Elon aside, putting Trump aside, putting partisan politics aside, left wing versus right wing. Listen, this is about a shift that is bigger than any political affiliation. Don't get caught up in that. Trump is just doing what he's assigned to do. He's got Sun conjunct Uranus. Ooh. He's got to free some things. That's just what it is.
You know why I bring him up, and back to what I was talking about with character. Amongst me and my people, I already know, hey, who favors you? 3 of diamonds favor me. Trump favors me. He favors my pockets. He does all of that. But however, we have a whole group of people amongst our people that are moving through this space because they're going through the lesson of character, which is their power. So they will say that, yes, he's great, but they won't address the character issue. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Trump, or you mean people just
in Trump? In Trump. They won't address that. See, we're those type of people where we gobble it all up because we celebrity people. You know what I mean? So it's like we love them, we love everything about them, and then when they get into trouble, now we hate them, everything about them. You know what I mean? So we're not those people that take this and say, okay, this is good for me, but we got to have the discussion about the character, right? Because the character is largely directed towards women. So the women have to talk about it. The men have to talk about it too. Because again, to think that a person is in favor right? Because that's what they think. They don't think, well, a lot of people ain't walking around like us and say, well, it's the time and he's supposed to do this. They're looking at him like he has the spoils of war. He's the winner. He's the king. Therefore, he has karma on his side. And what they say is, I want that too. So what will you see right now? You will see more violence against women. You see more.
Well, he took men out of women's sports because men felt like they could be MMA fighters and punch women in the face if they called themselves women.
I understand that, but again, this is the King Gemini with Uranus. He knows how to please the people, right? So no, he's not going to just do everything wrong. He's going to do things. He's going to plant things that are going to please the people. However, you have to look at his character because his character is all out there. What has he done? What is the evidence? Not what the conspiracies are. He's literally in jail he's literally been convicted of these things. You understand?
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Honestly, from people who are 300 years old getting Social Security checks, it's like there's been fraud going on. Ain't nobody hands is clean here on either side. Let's just be honest. Our money's going.
But again, it's not about.
We're all like, where's our money going? Why?
But it's not. No. But it's not about that. Okay, we can do things the right way, Capricorn or whatever, and we can assess and do this and do that. But when there are no checks and balances, that's not what's happening. That is not what's happening at all. And not only is just it's a tremendous amount of purposeful trauma being inflicted, right? Because you're taking away people's jobs and you're making them feel like they're worthless. You know what I mean?
Honestly, there were millions of people deported under Obama. Nobody said anything. There were no protests. There were millions of people. Like I'm saying, everything that's happening now has been happening. It's just like people say there were no plane crashes until they were reported 2 weeks ago. No, there were more plane crashes last year before Trump was elected.
There were more plane crashes. There were more plane crashes, but there were more plane crashes, but there was not more death.
No,
what has happened, the data is showing in the last, even within this last year.
What I'm saying is that if you get into partisan politics and say, well, Democrats can steal, but Republicans can't.
But you're looking at it.
Okay. Check it out.
Looking at it as political. I happen to have a lot of Republican friends. I was planning on running as a Republican for Congress. So it's not political. I'm talking about one individual. And two,
but I'm saying in general, like for example, right? Even if we want to look at the Gemini thing, right? Whether it's Trump or Kendrick Lamar, doesn't matter, right? Either one of them has Jupiter on the sun, and you don't lose, right? Usually, if you have Jupiter playing nice with your sun, right? So, but what I was saying initially was about Jupiter, because you were talking about character, right? Which is bigger than Trump. Jupiter is the Hierophant card in tarot. It's higher spiritual truths. It's spiritual gurus and mentors and leaders, right? It's higher spiritual truth. So with that being said, right, keeping in mind, that's why I said in terms of this pandemic, and you said, how can you win? How can you, like your question on your document, Shah, how can you tap into astrology to achieve abundance? How can we win, succeed? What can we do with these transits? What I'm saying is that if Jupiter's higher moral spiritual truths, Saturn is consequences for lack of discipline and maturity, and all these planets are shifting into new signs, right?
Yeah.
You have to tap in to the highest expression of these planets. If Jupiter says the higher spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, the higher spiritual truths, it's in Gemini. Gemini is the mind. Yeah. That is the higher spiritual thinking in the mind. That's what Kendrick Lamar and Drake, it wasn't about lyrics. It was about morality. He told us Drake was a liar, pedophile, and a colonizer.
Character.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He's a king of clubs.
You have to, with these character. These trends with your Uranus leaving Taurus, Uranus knowledge, freedom.
So
You gotta
basically,
have the
Ty, what you're saying
highest
is that all of this
vibration.
is being played out, right? What's going on? We're
Correct.
seeing the
Yeah.
representation of the
Right.
planetary energy being played out through these characters,
Yeah.
right?
It's bigger than
And it's
rap,
bigger
bigger
than
than
the
politics.
politics. Yeah, it's bigger than everything else.
But you're going to have to know with Neptune getting ready to go into Aries, right? And Saturn. This character thing I'm talking about is going to become extremely important.
Oh, for
Only if you
sure.
will it to be. For some
Absolutely.
people, it's not important at all. Like
Well, no. It may not be important to people, but what it is it's going to help you navigate the additional suffering that's going to come about when
It's a
Neptune
separation. This is going
moves
to be the separate
into
the flock.
these things help you to deal with suffering, right? So you're going through a period of suffering. I've gone through a period of suffering, right? Other people go through a period of suffering and they can't take it no more. You know what I mean? Because they don't have no money, or the money's being taken away, or the this is being taken away. But character is about, again, appreciating the things that you have, number one, right? And taking care of them and growing them, sharing them with other people. These are like really important lessons right now during all of this craziness. I find that things I'm hearing about people, with the money, or they still think, well, yeah, this is going to happen. I'm going to do this. My career is going to do this, and da 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 and da 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 da. When no, it's not. It's really going to be kind of tough for a
But
couple of
not
years.
all.
For
But
me,
hold up.
it's an illusion of suffering, because Pisces is about illusions as well. So if you fall for the illusion, then you're going to end up on that struggling aspect.
And
Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
How do you teach people, Jupiter, how not to fall into that illusion?
Hold on, because hold on. Let me say this, because it depends on their karma, right? Some people are here to learn these harsh lessons, and at the same time, Saturn rules rewards. Okay, see,
Yeah.
you can be on one side of the spectrum, but there's always an opposite end of the spectrum as well, right? And so when Saturn comes across, it's bringing lessons as well as blessings if you've learned your lesson. Saturn is the earth king or queen, right? It holds the keys to the kingdom. And if you have been naughty or nice, it all depends on how you have been using your energy. Now, with this conjunction coming at Pisces at the end, we can all agree there's a culmination that's going to be taking place, right? There's the bubble is about to bust, right? And whether it's through a disease or this, that, and the other, but at the same time, is the opportunity for healing, right? We can't forget the healing that has to take place.
But
And it's
when it's Neptune, it's going to be a slow bust. That's all I'm saying. Moving
Mm.
through Neptune, having it continued with Neptune and Saturn, what we're going through right now, yes, it's going to be wonderful eventually, but it's going to be slow. And the slow is where the quote unquote suffering comes in. How do we deal with time and now? How do we deal with now? Because it's going to feel like now for a while. That's how Neptune is. It's
But
gonna feel
okay,
like
yeah,
right now
Neptune is gonna
for a
stay.
while.
Hold up, when are they're gonna cross?
No.
Because Saturn eventually is gonna move past it, so it's
And
not
Uranus
gonna.
is going to go into Gemini. Does that sound slow?
But
That's
hold on,
disruptive. That's
Does
disruption.
Uranus and
it's
Gemini sound
it's
slow?
as
That's
well as it,
disruption.
but it can be innovative too. So this is what I'm saying. There's
disruption.
Uranus is
many.
not slow. What I'm saying is that Jupiter is paving the way, right, for Uranus. Uranus is lightning fast. If people can't catch on now, Uranus and Gemini is a quick mind.
I don't
So
think
what I'm saying is that
both of y'all are right.
I have
right?
Uranus conjunct Mercury.
Yeah.
So I
Yo,
everybody's right. But what I'm saying is,
What side of
everybody's
duality
right.
are you on?
Oh, I love that.
I just don't think that everybody's going to have this extended grace
right.
period to just evolve, because we are given transits that it gives specific instructions, and you can't just be like, well, I can't forgive that. I can't get over that. I can't mature past that. I'll wait 6 months. I'll wait a year. You got to do what the time instructs you to do based on how it's impacting your
You
placement.
right, you're right.
Yeah,
Because
because like you said,
listen, we're
Saturn
all
is
here.
Time,
We're all here facing. Believe this or not, we're all
uh-huh.
here facing our judgment. Right. We're
Yeah.
all dealing with our personal forms of judgment, dealing
Yeah.
with our karma
Yeah.
from past lives, generational lives, or whatever, and how it plays out in these final times is how it's going to play out. Right. So the transit, whatever's going on, whatever Saturn is going to be doing this dance with Neptune for however long, as the saying goes, this too shall pass. So how is people gonna, while we're going through it? Because when we were in 2019, about to hit 2020, all astrologers knew something was finna go down, right? With this great conjunction that we seen at the 29th degree, was it Capricorn? We seen that something was finna go down. We just didn't know what. There was no way to prepare for what was about to embark upon the whole world. But we got
Oh, I
through
told
it,
them it was going to be a pandemic.
right?
I
But,
did.
but here's the thing. We are here
I
today
literally told them.
talking about it, where back then it was making it seem like we were all gonna die. And a lot of people did pass away, right? A lot of people did leave this planet,
And a lot
right?
of people, that
And
was the best time for
that
it.
Yeah,
portal, it's like
yeah.
portal
Time.
openings, right?
Especially the prices.
amazing.
I was traveling all over the world, and
Yeah.
I went to
I
get
never got
$30
sick.
for the first
I never got
time.
sick. I had everything was the best prices, the best time to see
I
the
had
world. I had my
plane
But
tickets.
you
awakening.
know
There's
what?
so much
But
amazing
you
things
know
that
what,
happened
though?
in that time.
Pisces is also empathy. So while you know
Exactly.
good life is ahead of you, you still empathizing with the folks that it ain't gonna be there for a while. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's a
Yeah.
little bit different. You know, I'm a projector. So I'm gonna be here, but not here. So I still have to be and not be. Even if I'm there, I gotta be here with them. I have to connect. You know what I mean? So some people gotta connect, some people don't. Some people can,
Yeah.
that's your
Yeah.
karma. You can leave, you can
Right.
move to
That's
another
it.
country,
That's it.
you
It's
can
your
live
right
your life,
on. Yeah.
but
It's
I can't. You know what I mean? Like I
It's
gotta
just right.
The
You gotta
warriors,
do
some
what you
people are here to show people what
I
it's like to
say.
be cash.
Some
I
people
gotta
Some
don't.
show
people are
Yeah.
here
people
to
how
show
to put
the luxury side of it. Some people are
Yeah.
here
I'm
to
like
show.
Harriet Tubman. I gotta show people how to, even though I'm already
Right.
free,
That's your mission.
I gotta
So that
go back
whatever.
and get them.
Yeah.
Right. Your mission is your mission, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has their own individual missions to fulfill, right? And so I think that's important, that you can't blanket every your what your personal experience may be.
Right,
You can
right,
share your experience, because through sharing you help someone, right?
right,
But we can't expect everyone to adhere to this. We can't expect everyone to walk this walk. They're going to have to experience this on their own, because at the end of the day, they signed the contract to come here to experience it, however it turns out for them, right? And so that's kind of where we have to just look at it. We're all here, but we're all here for different reasons. And
absolutely.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so I think that's the beauty of it. So when I hear you ladies, you talk about it, and we're all passionate about astrology and our
Yeah.
science, and I love it, because I think more women need to get into this science and utilize it, because it can help heal you and your family, and it can readjust, recalibrate you to get you where you need to be. Like the sister astrology doctor can help with your health and wellness. Aquarius can really help you with your timing. Phoenix can help you really understand the tools that you're working with. All right. And I can help you just really get into divine alignment. And all of these pieces to this puzzle makes us whole. We are the holistic ones. We are the ones returning to do the work to help people get on their divine path. And so I want y'all, thank you ladies for
And mind
joining me
y'all,
tonight.
we passionate, okay?
Yeah,
Like,
Hell yeah.
I'm an
about
artist. All right. This is
And I'm everybody was like,
I
yeah.
love these ladies.
y'all know I love y'all to death.
That's
Please,
what I
Oh
said.
yeah.
I'm
Your
like,
sisters
tomorrow,
here.
tomorrow, I'm gonna show up for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
not,
people in the chat ready to come find me. They like, They like, get her out of here. Look, they got mad.
Nah,
mad
we
at me.
family,
No,
man.
it's
We known
all
each other
love,
for a long
but we
time. The
passionate
three
about
of
our
us
stuff.
on
So
here, we this is how we
Yeah.
sisters. This is how
Yeah.
we do. We sitting at the round table. This is how you think your aunties and them was sitting around the table back in the days, dropping
Child,
this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So this is the same thing. This is the whole reason of the Stella Mass podcast is to bring the sisters together, the divine feminine, as well as the divine masculine. I know you're like, when you gonna have some fellas and it's always with me. Don't worry, they coming. I got them handpicked. Don't worry, they coming. I got them handpicked. But I wanted to once again just thank you, ladies, for joining me tonight, sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge. And if you have some last words for the people, some word of advice, also let them know where they can find you, your services, where they can follow you, what you do, how they can get a hold of you. There was a couple people like, where do I book my appointment? How do I get a hold of these sisters? So give yourself a shout out where they can find you. Whatever you want to drop, now is your time. And what if you have last words for the chat, what can you leave them with? Go ahead, Aquarius. You got it. Go ahead. We're gonna go in order.
Well, you
Yeah.
can find me on AquariusMaximus.com, Aquarius Maximus on social media. And if you want to book I only have mini readings right now. Well, I got some full readings, but I actually restream this over to my page, so my YouTube.
Oh, that's
So you
dope.
can click. Yeah, you're on my YouTube right now too. So you can go there and you can click on my YouTube and book a reading there. And all I have to say is, I'm big on faith, and faith is not the faith that I have in others. I don't have a lot of faith in others. I have faith in myself, and I have faith in my path. And I was a person that I started out, like I said, so when you're younger, sometimes you start out deficient, and I started out deficient in faith. I had zero faith. I'm like, what is that? So my whole life I had to go through learning the lesson about faith and how it can carry you through to where you need to go, or it is absolutely going to carry you through. So work on your faith. And like I said, that's not a religious thing. It's not a Christian thing. It's not a Jewish thing. It is just a thing. Work on your faith, because at the end of the day, that is what's going to carry you through. You're believing, and strengthen your faith with things like astrology and cardology and all this. Because I don't know if I'd have did it without cardology and astrology. I think that even strengthened it even more.
Yeah.
So these tools they will strengthen your faith. They'll give you the armor that you need to go out and face the world. So at minimum, do that for yourself and do it for your family, do it for your kids. It's the biggest gift you could give everybody. So, that's it.
Awesome. All right, Ty, what you got?
Okay. So y'all can find me on Instagram at Ty Phoenix, spelled just like it is on the screen. No spaces or underscores. You can find me on TikTok, but it's Ty Phoenix 713. And that's probably the best place. Those are the two apps where you would find me the most active. I do all the chart readings, birth chart, synastry chart. That's you and another person, composite. You and another person or another entity. The grass, solar return, like what's going to happen from the most recent birthday to the upcoming birthday the following year. Anything that has a birthday has a chart, so I do those chart readings as well. I'm also an artist. My art doesn't deviate from what I believe or what is important to me. So everything we discussed here tonight is reflected in my musical expression, my art, the crown loads. Don't say I have an idea. Say I just got a crown load. You know what I'm saying? Because Sha knows this as well. The music, which is Pisces, it has to evolve as well. And there are plenty of us who are committed to that and playing a role in taking it to a level where we can shift these frequencies, right? Because
Indeed.
music is the most powerful frequency that
Yes.
impacts the psyche. So, and Pisces is
Yes.
psyche. So with all this Pisces energy, I say that to say spirituality, astrology, Pisces, music, it's all, I'm just here to do my part. And the Mars on my sun, let me just say this, the Mars on my sun, normally I'd have been a little sensitive, Cancerian, sensitive on people in the chat talking about he gotta go. Because I probably was saying that Trump took men out of women's sports, and I appreciated that. So some people, they just, even when you do right.
Oh, I appreciate that shit too.
I appreciated it too.
I appreciate that shit too.
But some people, when they take a position, they don't see no right. You know what I mean?
No, because it probably wasn't women. But okay, that's a whole nother show. But go ahead.
But yeah, my final, to chime in on even what Aquarius just said about faith. That's why I just put a post up on the role of faith in the life of the chosen one. That was the most recent TikTok I put up. And as far as faith goes, actually believing in the unseen and knowing, it's the age of Aquarius. We know, right? I definitely co-sign what Aquarius said. Just, if you believe and know, that faith where you don't have to have physical evidence and see with your human eyes, but you are divinely guided. And, whether that guidance leads you to all of us to get your chart read or leads you to your own understanding. Like, Shah said earlier, if you don't even know astrology, but you tapped into your own soul, something resonates as true and right for you, then just keep your eyes open, keep your eyes and your heart open. Then, that's all I really want to just say in that respect. And just make sure with astrology, that all of these planets have high vibrational and low vibrational expressions of the energy, right? So Jupiter is a trip in the physical, but in the spiritual sense, it's moral truths, right? The moon is where you live in the physical sense, but in the spiritual sense, it's your psyche, your imagination. So there's a physical expression of these planets and there's a metaphysical. Pay attention to both.
That's right. Duality. Yeah. I say, thank you, Ty. All right, astrology doctor, what you got for us?
Well, thank you for having me. This was amazing. And I really enjoyed all of you ladies. Where people can tap in for me, I do have a weekly podcast. It's called the Astrology Doctor Podcast. It's on Spotify and Neptunes, where I give weekly astromed updates so you can follow the health transits on a collective level. And if you want an in-depth reading of your own medical astrology to heal your body from disease, illness, anti-age, arthritis, I've helped people with pancreas cancer, breast cancer, paralysis, eczema, fibroids, all to heal and everything according to your medical astrology, because we are all specific. There's no one size fits all when it comes to healing. It's very specific to your blueprint, your medical astrology, your natal contract, your natal health contract. So the link is in my bio, but you guys can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram, and it's _astrology_doctor on TikTok and Instagram. And don't be fooled by I got a lot of scammers. So make sure y'all are not DMing or anything. All my bookings are through my link in my bio. But I just want to leave everybody with understanding that when you learn your medical astrology, you learn your natal contract blueprints, the planets cycles, your herbs, your energy shifts, it unlocks your health. There is no disease in 5D, like we mentioned before. Your health unlocks your wealth, and if you're already wealthy and you got health issues, they're they're hand in hand. Right. So and there is no aging either. Like once you master this, you're younger, you're vibrant, you're fuller, have more energy.
I know, because you're 82.
I said I was this lifetime. I'm probably gonna live to 180 this time, and this is my last
let's
time.
go.
What
This
is
is
what is what is your
11 times.
birthday? What is your birthday? I'm so curious to know your card. What is your
My birthday, I'm
'Cause I know
February
everybody
4th.
else.
So
February.
I'm
I
eight
thought
of,
so. You're an 8 of
yeah,
spades.
8 of spades.
I thought so. Oh my goodness.
I need
You
to
said
go into
January
everything
4th?
more
Yeah,
about that.
need to
But
connect. That's
February 4th.
some karmic.
Spade
There's
is
some
spade.
energy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been a phenomenal show. You ladies dropped a lot of gems, brought so much wisdom, your expertise, everything was dope. And I would like to personally invite you all, if you are not busy, on the summer solstice, Houston, Texas, we are having a quantum fest. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to have, it's like a metaphysical festival. And I can't drop all the names yet. We haven't finalized everything, but it's going to be pretty big. So if you I know Ty already got you down. Okay, I know you want to perform. I got some other people. Yaya is going to be there. We're trying to get. I don't know if you heard Strange Wordplay. The brother's dope. He's going to be on the next show. A lot of TikTokers that have been shadow banned. Like when TikTok first came out, it was dope. But then all of a sudden it turned into something else. And they started blocking a lot of people, removing a lot of accounts. I mean, people who were having 500,000 subscribers. It was a phenomenal space. And so, Sister I Am God Frequency, Lisa, we were talking about we need to start throwing festivals and continue to bring these personalities out. So this word and this knowledge can be brought out. And Sister Lisa, who's down with what is it, quantum chi? She works with the coils, and it's just the, the whole movement of quantum, and it's just who and to see us in that space. And we're gonna have a festival that's surrounded by that energy. So it's gonna be on the summer solstice in Houston. If you are interested, just let me know. You can go to that website that's scrolling at the bottom. We are looking for vendors now. If you are an artisan, if you do any kind of crystal sound therapy, any kind of type of healing modality, if you're in astrology, numerology, all kind of metaphysics, please just go ahead and get the information, because once this thing gets out and we start locking down some of these names we're working on, folks are going to want to really be a part of this movement. So I want to drop it early, and this is something we're probably going to be doing once a year along the solstices. So go ahead and check out the Quantum Fest at Quantum Kingdom events. It will be in Houston this year, summer solstice, and I would love you ladies to attend. If you wanted to speak, you wanted to just come on out and vibe with us. I'm going to be doing a live broadcast covering the whole event live streaming from there. So it's going to be pretty phenomenal. And once again, thank you for joining me this evening. I would love you all to come back again. This was fire, man. I think we can
Loved
get
it.
this
I
thing
loved it.
around here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you, all of you people in the chat. Thank y'all for coming out, hanging out with me tonight, hanging out with the sisters
yes,
tonight. It's
thank
going to be
you.
more and more of this because there's so many women in this space that haven't been heard, and they have so much information, so much knowledge, so much power. And the Stella Maris podcast is a round table podcast where I want to bring on, always have more than four or five people on here bringing this information to you. And it's something that you can take away with you, and as well as contact them so you can continue on your journey of awakening. What's up, Iron God Frequency? There you go in the building. Continue on your journey of awakening, continue on health and healing, and just getting recalibrated to this energy and rising to your highest self. All right.
Yeah.
So
We not having the after show. We not having the. I'm just kidding. I'm just
oh,
kidding.
after show was
You
the
know what?
after.
Y'all
Hey,
can hang on Fridays, but I'm like, my Pisces rising don't be doing it.
time
Like
to go
I
to bed. I know my dog looking at me like,
falling asleep, looking like I'm, I can't do it.
all right. Well, I appreciate you for being here, ladies. And Ty, I'm gonna stay on the line, okay? Because I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk to you a little bit. But thank you, Astrology Doctor. Thank you,
Thank
Aquarius
you.
Masters. You all enjoy the
Peace
rest
and
of the
healing, everybody.
evening.
Much love.
It's been
Thank you.
amazing having you all here with me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Awesome sauce. Listen, y'all, it was fire in here. I know you had to feel this vibe. The vibe was popping. We had some phenomenal energy in here. Everyone was behaving themselves in the chat. I hope you was, because I can't really tell what's going on there. But we don't pull that kind of energy over here anyway. Next week, I got a